All right, so it's 6 o'clock on November 27th. I'm Mark McIntyre, Chairman of the Board of Architecture Review and Historic Preservation. With me on the dais tonight are board members Susan Stevenson, John Gregory, and Jane Clare. Joining us by Zoom tonight is board member Jeff Broadleib. So we have quorum. So motion to open the November 27 meeting of the Board of Architecture Review and Historic Preservation. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, the first thing we have on the agenda tonight is minutes approval from November 13th. Did everyone get a copy of the minutes?
Yes.
And have a chance to read them, and are there any questions or comments?
No questions?
Okay, so motion to approve the minutes of November 13th. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you.
Next.
Next,
I just want to make sure you know I'm here as well.
oh, I'm sorry, thank you. And that's a good reminder. Joining us tonight are Alex Wallach, our planning director, Alice Cooley, our counsel. In the back is Sage running video, and Jackie Allen is our recorder for the evening. So that's who's joining us tonight, and welcome. Next up on the agenda, though, we have written decisions. The first written decision is for 840 Meadow Lane for driveway gates as shown on Plan AG003. Alice, do you want to give us any further update necessary? Or John, do you want to speak?
Wait, it's closed.
It's
isn't it?
closed. It's an approval of a written decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna help you with an update, that's all.
Oh, okay.
Maybe have a requiem for the mermaid.
I like that mermaid cat. I think you should give. I think they should give
I
it to
like
the
'em too.
aquarium.
I don't want to hear about the mermaid anymore.
I know. I still think it should go to the aquarium in Riverhead. I
not
think it's
old.
fantastic.
So, John, I will email you a copy. This is a certificate of appropriateness for the construction of 2 sets of driveway gates.
Okay. So motion to approve the written decision for 840 Meadow. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the written decision at 468 First Neck Lane for construction of a 2-story single-family dwelling and tennis court. Alice, anything to add?
No, I don't have anything to add on that one.
Okay, so board members, do you have a chance to read the written decision? Are there any questions or comments?
No.
So motion to approve the written decision for 468 First Neck Lane. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Great, thank you. Okay, we have a lot of adjournment requests tonight, so I'm going to motion to approve the applicant requests for the following adjournments: for 300 North Main Street to December 11th, for 242 South Main Street LLC to December the 11th, for 383 First Neck Lane LLC to December the 11th, for 64 Down East Lane, which is 495 Ox Pasture Road, to December the 11th, and for 840 Meadow Lane LLC for construction of 3 detached accessory garage structures, which is actually 2 now, to December the 11th, and for Barbara Maddock at 64 Pulaski Street to December the 11th. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. So next we have a demolition of value for 60 Corrigan Street. A little history on this. It came to the demo committee from the building department, but over the last week and a half, we didn't have a chance to go look at it until today, so it came to the agenda, and you all received a demolition packet on it. So we just need to vote on whether or not we're going to landmark this property. Is that correct, Alice?
Correct.
Okay. Any board members have any comment on it? I know that I drove by and looked at it today. Anyone else, Jane?
I actually did not.
I did. It's cute, but
My opinion would be there's nothing in it that would stand up to landmarking, and that it's not in the historic district, so our options are to approve it to seek landmarking or to not, in which case it moves it to demolition.
Can we find out, it says 1980 per property card, is that,
it's not, that's
It's
how
not a-
old it is.
Yeah, it's not a historic house.
it is, it was
It's
built in the
70.
80s?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
that's
Okay, just checking, because
Yeah.
not always are those
somehow the
accurate.
Yeah.
target
No, we
date.
went down and drove it and looked at
Yeah.
it today to
Okay,
make sure.
thanks.
So I'm going to motion to deny to seek landmark status for 60 Corrigan Street. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jeff? Jeff, was that an aye? Great, thank you. Any opposed? Okay. So next up, we have public hearings. Historic first carryover matter is 2 Meadow Lane LLC for a demolition of existing structure and construction of a 2-story single-family dwelling with porch and patios. And here you are. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So could you get Sage to? Oh, there we go, great.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board and council. My name is Denise Shern. I'm the attorney for the applicant here tonight with Haley Willis, an associate at the Adam Miller Group. I'm also accompanied by architects from Sawyer Burson, Brian Sawyer, John Burson, and Eric Foister, who's in the audience, along with Tom McMahon, who is the owner's representative, who's also in the audience with us tonight. As you may recall, for member Gregory's benefit, who wasn't at the last meeting, we had to address several issues that had been raised at the first meeting. The first was whether or not the pool house was historic. We got a report from Zach Studenroth that it wasn't. The second was the front yard lot line, whether that was calculated correctly. The building inspector confirmed that it was. The lighting plan, Member Stevenson raised several concerns about that. We did revamp the lighting plan with our lighting experts and had Susan Harder from the International Dark Sky Society review it. She thought it was fully dark sky compliant and also a quote, ideal example for other similarly situated properties. And finally,
Can I ask you to pull
Sure.
the mic just a little closer for me?
Sure.
To make sure they can get it in the back.
And
Thank you.
finally, the ocean-facing window was reduced in size and redesigned to be more traditional and more proportional to the rest of the windows in the house. And those sort of addressed at least the first major set of concerns we heard at the first meeting. During the second meeting, there were new issues raised. One was the view or scale of the house as it would be seen from the public view along the beach. At the time, we didn't have any images for you to look at to see what it would look like from the beach. So we left that evening with the assignment to get that done for you, and we have done that and are prepared to show that to you tonight. The member that raised it said that he wasn't concerned so much about the size of the house, but he was concerned that perhaps this house was more massive or seemed more massive than in fact the Ark, which was the original house on the property. The chairman then suggested that we return with a streetscape, and as I said, that's what we've done for tonight, and the architects will walk us through that so you can get an image of what that view would be from the water or from the beach. So our first goal at tonight's meeting is to address that legitimate concern that was raised. You know, what will the view of the new house be on the property from the beach, which is a public thoroughfare, or was described as a public thoroughfare at the last meeting, but is definitely used by the public and does have a public view. The second goal is to ensure that there aren't too many porches on the property. At the last meeting, and I believe at the first meeting too, there were questions about whether there were too many porches surrounding the house. And when we went back to the client and had the architects remove the porch that was adjacent to 20 Meadow, it turned out that to him, and I guess to the architects as well, I don't have that same viewpoint because I'm not an architect, but they all thought it looked asymmetrical, sort of like a face that might be really beautiful and is symmetrical, but is like missing an eyebrow. So it didn't, and that's
have
how
a
it was
Picasso.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You have a Picasso now.
Yes, I think so. So we came back to you tonight without that porch removed for that reason, and we'll get into further detail about that a little bit later. But we want to impress upon the board that the family's goal for this entire time period has been to design a home that's appropriate for the neighborhood, that isn't overly ambitious, that does not exceed zoning, that is environmentally sensitive, and does right not only by the village, but by the neighbors, to the neighbors. And for that reason, they've had the neighbors involved from the start. All the neighbors have confirmed that they agree with the plans that you see before you and don't believe that the plans will have any negative impact on their properties. And to date, we haven't received any objection letters or statements that I've seen. In sum, our client intends to build a property, a house that I believe is appropriate for the property at 2 Meadow Lane. That is a house that probably should be built at a property that is as special as this one, one that did contain the Ark at one point. It would be, I think, a shame to miss out on the opportunity to have a fabulous house on this lot, especially one that I don't think you'll see is as imposing as you might have thought it was at our meeting last month. Our client is a conscientious neighbor who really does want to do the right thing for the neighborhood and for the village. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the architects who are going to walk you through those 2 goals that I identified, establishing what the public vista is from the water, from the beach of our proposed residence, and comparing that to the vista of other properties along Meadow Lane, and then discussing the comment about removal of some of the porches.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, as a preamble to addressing the beach elevation, it was also mentioned at the last hearing about the appearance of our proposed project versus how the Ark might appear as well, and to see how imposing our house was relative to the Ark. So we have here the street elevation and beach elevation of the Ark. These are historic photos. You'll notice from the beach elevation how close to the water it is. Also the fact that the dune was considerably lower and the Ark was still 7 feet taller than the house we're proposing. On the lower right there is the silhouette of the Ark in its position relative to Meadow Lane, or what we're proposing, which is behind that silhouette. Again, the Ark was much closer to the water. The dune was lower, and you can see how imposing the Ark was relative to what we are proposing, which is here on the lower right corner.
And part of that is the distance between the beach and the 2 structures. The Ark was located in close proximity to the beach, whereas our proposed residence is situated an additional 77 feet back from the edge of the beach grass. That is a combination of, there's a few reasons why. Number one, we're choosing to build the house in a conforming location, so it's pushed up as far to the street as possible. But number two, over time, the property has grown through the process of accretion, which is sort of unusual out here. We're used to seeing erosion. But since this house burned down in 2003, the property has actually grown in size by approximately 83 feet. And the dune has grown in height by 2.6 feet as well. So the vantage point walking down the beach when you're looking at the proposed house versus what would have been the Ark, they're very, very different vantage points of a distance of almost 100 feet. So it changes your perspective, how you view the building. And this building is situated landward of the dune. That house was built right on top of the dune.
So it may not have been on top of the dune once upon a time. Just
we've had experts come and survey the site, coastal experts from Massachusetts, and through all the historic records, it's evident that it was built right on top of the dune. It's from 1890, so there weren't any regulations in effect that would have governed that at the time.
Right, I'm just saying, it's wonderful that the property's grown, but the properties all along here get smaller and bigger depending on what kind of storms we have.
Sure, yes. I'm just pointing out that one of the differences on this property is that it actually has grown in size. It's healthier than it was
Right.
20 years, which is unusual.
By nature of the location, though, could easily revert back to what it had been. So, I understand it as of today, that's the fact.
Yeah, that being said, we're still 77 feet landward.
Okay.
The next thing we want to address in with more granularity is the number of porches. And it's been noted and a very serious concern of members of the board, but we'd like to also just comment that in our study of this design, we've been very, very careful not just to address our clients' goals and wishes, but to respect the architecture and the context of the village of Southampton and how special it is. And this long, deep language of summer houses that I think here have been articulated most beautifully on anywhere on the East Coast. And we do have 4 porches, as you noted. I'm just going to point out the difference in some of the things in the graphic difference.
I do want to correct one thing. The issue was not about having porches. The issue is about the massive roof line.
Mhm.
And because you have so many porches is what pushed the square footage of the roof line of the house to be so big.
Mhm.
So when we look at the massing of the house from the beach, or we look at the massing of the house in its width, one of the things that just makes it look so much larger is the amount of roof structure that comes into play because there are so many porches. That's
Okay.
to clarify that.
Okay, and just also to clarify on our drawings where we have deep overhangs versus actual porches. So these are only passages here that are for the deep overhangs that we are considering sort of entry exit space versus what are occupiable spaces as you see here. And they do, as many houses along Meadow Lane, they would extend part of the, in our case, the lower level, but not the upper level. The other, again, the effort here has also been to pull the scale down and suppress the line of the house, and with the roof articulation, including porches, and none of which are on the second level. We don't have any second floor porches. And so we've been able to prevent or circumvent the sort of verticality that happens, which we don't find very pleasing. I mean, that's our personal view of a lot of houses where you have such the planar vertical plane extending up in double porches, which occurs in many places along Meadow Lane. So I think that, and if we misunderstood that, then I won't go through this, but we went through many houses along Meadow Lane that have anywhere from 4, 6 to 10 porches, which also do extend roof lines for obvious reasons. But we feel that this house, it is primarily a summer house. And I think its enjoyment for the family depends on how we articulate and position those transitional spaces. So I'll just tell you the story of these 4 porches is that this one located here on the ocean is sort of a breakfast and lunch and sort of a daytime porch here, which gives you the shade and the enjoyment of having an outdoor space looking toward the ocean. There's a slightly more formal porch here off the living room, which looks toward the ocean. And then the primary wing has this little private porch looking out toward the ocean here. And since the house has this beautiful view over toward the tennis club, it has we call it the sunset porch, which is on the north side of the house. So our goal was to create these outdoor spaces, these covered spaces, porches, to extend the lifestyle of the house, both indoors and out. And I know you know exactly what I'm talking about, and not to, hopefully not sounding too obvious, but that's, I think, in the 25 years John and I have been designing houses from here to Amagansett, those spaces that share or transition to the outside are almost just as important as those indoor spaces. And I find that whether we're doing a modern or traditional house, that those make our houses sing or not, how we extend the lifestyle and enjoyment for the family, indoors to out. So that's our reason for those, and it does affect the roof line. So that's, but we felt very strongly that they belonged on this house and served, I think, the best possible program and design for this family and for this style.
Does your beach elevation, streetscape or beachscape in this case, does that reflect the porch as part of the plan, or not?
Let's go to these next drawings if you like.
That
John's
one.
going to address those, and Mr. Gregory, we can see if we're addressing your question.
Okay. So this is actually sheet A008, doubled in size.
At least.
Yeah, at least for presentation purposes. With the plan below, this is a continuous beach elevation from 12 Gin Lane, which is St. Andrew's Dune Church, over to 210 Meadow Lane. The image in the middle is a silhouette in true elevation of all of these homes or structures, if you will. But more importantly, above is a photo montage taken at a consistent distance along the dune, showing how these structures and homes appeared from the beach. And it should be noted that our proposed home is actually landward of many of these adjacent homes. So it will be perceived as, if not smaller, on kind of appropriate for this beachscape, this immediate beachscape running from 12 Gin to 210 Meadow. This subsequent board is where we're casting a wider net, kind of going from one end to the other of the historic district, all the way from 534 Gin Lane here on the lower right, all the way over to 820 or 840?
840.
840, pardon me, 840 Meadow Lane. We felt that there were many houses along the beach that were of a similar, if not larger size than the home at Two Meadow that we're proposing, and we've assembled them here. And then above is how each of these is viewed from the beach, and you can see many of them are very prominent given their proximity to the ocean, and the fact that, as you can see in the plan view, ours being landward of the majority of these houses. In addition, we've taken up the scale a little again with a selection of these photos from this top row, just showing our home the proposed home in comparison with some of these structures. Here you see 2 Meadow Lane, and above it is 840 Meadow Lane. And again, ours is set back is further landward than this structure. Here is a comparison to 650 Meadow Lane. Here on the right is 2 Meadow Lane, and on the left is 550 Meadow Lane. Again, many of these were built pre-FEMA and pre-coastal erosion hazard line. They're much closer to the ocean and very, very prominent. Here is 2 Meadow compared to 520 Meadow Lane.
Which was moved into that position.
Which was, yes, moved landward. Here is 2 Meadow and 430 Meadow Lane. Here's 16 Gin Lane with 2 Meadow Lane below. And then finally 48 Gin Lane, a very tall structure, and then 2 Meadow Lane below. We're happy to provide some copies of these if the board would like.
Actually, could you pass that up here just 1 second?
Sure.
Do we have it in the file?
In big form?
In this format,
And little form. So
Yeah,
you
a
could
big
hardly
file
see- you
folder.
can see the picture.
So again, does this illustration have the house including the porches? or-
Yes.
It does?
yes.
I have another copy here, if you like.
Okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
Jane, you want
I've
Wanna
got
look?
one, I've
Okay.
got one.
Lucy?
I watched.
John? Oh, okay, so then. Okay, that's just for, it's hard for me to see it that far. Okay.
40. Take it away from me.
So, of course, we're happy to thank you again for hearing us tonight, and
Okay.
we're happy to address any questions concerned, along with our attorney Denise and our owner's rep, Tom.
Would the zoning have allowed you to build higher in that location than you have?
Not higher than the middle ridge, but the wings on either side, we could have gone considerably higher.
Just curious.
And further out. The pyramid would have allowed us to stretch the house even to further east or west, the pyramid law. Together with the setbacks, obviously.
What was the position of the original house on the lot?
You want the red?
So, to recollection, it's a little farther to the west and
The-
further south toward the.
The arc, correct?
The arc?
In the water.
The thing that seems strange to me, not strange, the position of the house in comparison to the other houses along the beach, they're all positioned parallel to the beach, and this one is cockeyed on the lot, and I'm just wondering why.
If we look back on the survey, you can see not just to the building envelope, but also our effort in the plan to deal with that building envelope and crank the house and angle it such that we would avoid both seeing the neighbors and to our best of efforts to the neighbors seeing us, and instead of doing sun studies and various moments around the house during different parts of the year, it fell where exactly where we're showing it.
But it was essentially to maximize the building envelope that,
You work within the envelope, avoid the east and west setbacks so that we weren't too close to the neighbors, but also it took a bit of cranking to
so
get that.
if it were positioned in a similar fashion as the homes surrounding it, it would by default have to be a smaller house, or have to be a deeper house on the lot. It wouldn't be
That
as,
could be possibly, yes.
because that would impact the massing as it appears from the beach or the street.
The survey's in the
I don't think that's appropriate.
Jane?
This is very convincing, what you've done with showing it. From what I remember of the last meeting, it was commented that it just seemed more like the Shinnecock Golf Course or
Pull the mic towards you a little more.
sorry. It seemed almost more of a commercial or a club rather than a home. I think that was the comment from last meeting.
I think I believe there maybe were remarks like that. I think that as
Well, I think in your first presentation, you told us the things you took into consideration.
we
were-
did
were
in
Shinnecock
in
Golf
its-
Course.
Yeah.
and-
yeah, the detailing and
So I think it's
especially
I think all that was actually anchored in your opening comments in your original presentation.
together with another house that address escapes me
Yeah.
on Gin, but it's really the style of that building
It was Ladue.
and
It
how
was
those
Ladue.
roofs
Ladue,
do
wasn't it?
articulate
Yeah.
porches. And I think what's interesting about that club, it's a fairly small building, although on that prominent spot it does spread out. But in the same way, like so many houses on Meadow, as you know, they have views. In this case, we have the different exposures, especially from the ocean to the tennis club. Further down on Meadow, then you get Shinnecock. So many houses do have multiple exposures and opportunities for different ways of enjoying this landscape, this special landscape. And in our view, again, back to porches, and Shinnecock is an example, which is pretty much a 360-degree view, and is covered completely in porches, and this one is not. But in any event, we feel that it is I think, commensurate or in sympathy with the tradition of many houses on Meadow Lane, including such as this right next door, which also includes a pretty, almost the same length in the building, but also the similar distribution of porch space. And some of them, I guess they could, at this size, they could be mistaken for a club. But in any event, again, our client was determined to make what is maybe large for some people, but a 6-bedroom house with a lot of double height space inside. And therefore, it's not yielding hundreds of 12 bedrooms that you might find in some houses. It is I would call it not so much a reduced program, but something appropriate to this family and the kids and how they expect the house to live. The point is, it is a 6-bedroom house with 3 major double height volumes in it, just to make it sure it's really somehow worked into the landscape as far as the views and the grand views that it has, and the light that we're trying to create and make the interior beautiful. So there is that aspect of the house that.
And one thing that did come to my attention was, how big is this parking area? Because it does look very, very large.
It's a normal parking court. It's about 50 by 70 feet.
And how many cars can you put in that?
You could probably park 4 to 6, and squeeze by on one side. And the way we're designing that, as the landscape architects as well, is that it's not going to be asphalt. It's going to be gravel and cobble and interspersed with plantings and grasses, so that it melts into the landscape. We don't want to have a typical highly articulated site design for this with a lot of hardscape. We want this to feel as though this house has been nestled into the dunes in all aspects, and that includes steps, paving, the driveway, and all of those components, which I think go to making this house fit nicely in this gorgeous spot. There's more parking down by the garage, if you saw that on the site plan. But
Yeah,
we
they're not
tried.
short on places to put cars,
No, they're not
Yeah.
short on it. I just didn't know if the front needed to be quite
so.
so large, just.
And also that vantage point, that's taken up.
Yeah.
You're in the air, standing at 20 feet above sea level, looking into it. So,
That's a good comment.
but in any event, we aside from having just a driveway, we did need some parking outside the front, because they hope to use the front door as their day-to-day entrance to the house.
Susan?
Well, I think the presentation tonight, I feel like if you look to your right and your left at that site, that there are equally large structures, not as well designed, I might say, some of them. But, and I know, because I was on the zoning board, why you're about the building envelope. I just do. I can't pretend to be ignorant about that, because then I got switched to this board, so I've been around for a while. But I actually think it's not anomalous to the site, to the neighborhood, and therefore I don't think it's objectionable. And I thought the work you did on the lighting was, to me, just outrageous. But you fixed that, so I'm glad. And it definitely is a large house, there's no denying it, but it is surrounded by large structures. And the Ark was, and historically, the Ark was a large structure, and it actually was there in, I remember the big fire, so it's not like it was part of the landscape, so I don't really have objections. I think, it's too bad that every house has to be so big, but I don't think I have the right to have an objection to that, since there's so many of them where we're talking about. So,
Okay.
and you did, the Betts house in front at least is preserved, so.
John?
Well, I don't disagree with Susan, except that the lot sizes of those houses that are much larger can accommodate a bigger home. And, you know, going back to my original comment, if the home were aligned with the other houses on Meadow Lane, other than that unfortunate 40 Meadow, the house would be forced to be designed in a different way to change the massing. And that's really my own, I have no issue with the
Wait,
design
I
of the
don't
house.
actually understand what you're saying. Can
You don't
just-
understand?
No, I don't. Because because you can't build a house where those houses are built. Not one of them.
No, he means,
The position of the house on the lot.
Oh,
Took
the-
the
because
house
it's
the-
at the
this
bend in
way.
the road,
Yeah.
it's
If you,
turned.
if you
Right.
squared it out to the beach, you would have to get narrower, because the way the lot is.
No, there are other tilted ones, not here. But there are other, all kinds of strange things on Meadow Lane.
Not here.
Jeff,
Where'd he go?
he's there. Jeff,
I'm here, I haven't disappeared. I find the traditional design harmonious with the neighborhood, so I have no objections on that front. When I first looked at it, I thought perhaps the wing, the easternmost wing, perhaps could be scaled down, but to do that would then make the house asymmetrical if you didn't do the same to the west, and I'm not sure the end result would work out. So I find the house generally harmonious with the neighborhood. I'm okay with the slight catty corner nature of it. In fact, that at various angles, it might make the scale less massive, because it would be at an angle. But there were some earlier statements and questions about the house, this house in relationship to the dune, which, and the accretion that has taken place, which is nature's gift to the property owner, apparently. And dunes may come and dunes may go. In as much as landscaping is a part of our purview within the historic district, one, I don't know if a landscaping plan that has been signed off by a licensed landscaper has been submitted. If not, I would like that to be
Okay.
So we
part
submitted.
of. Okay, and
I think it was,
secondly-
Jeff, I think it was
It's
submitted in the original package.
Okay, great, I appreciate that then. Then the question is, what can be done to protect the dunes as they are now and the accretion? I know that gets into perhaps
Yeah.
some town issues.
Right,
and the like.
that's more of a
purview.
political issue than an issue related to this application, but.
Well, if though that was, they're making the case that the accretion is part of why we should accept the scale of the house. So inasmuch as a landscaping plan is part of their submission, in an effort to protect the dunes as we see them, it would seem to me would be a logical addition or a part of that.
Jeff,
And
if,
people-
Jeff, it's Alice. I think if I understood their presentation correctly, I think what they were trying to say is because the dune has increased in size, the
Right.
house is set back further from the beach, and because the
Right.
height of the dune has increased, that the house does not appear
house sits
quite
lower.
as high.
It's less visible than
So
the
I
original
don't-
house.
I think they're making a design argument and not a environmental argument.
But it should be noted that our landscape, if I may, our plantings and our goal is to reinforce everything about that dune and continue to enhance.
Well, of
the
course,
advantage.
it
Ecology.
is certainly in the property owner's interest to protect the dune.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. So that is, again, to some, I believe the design is harmonious with the neighborhood, so I have no objections.
Okay. Here's all right, coming on the whole thing. Thank you for all your work, first of all. I think you've gone through a lot of effort. You've shown us a lot of examples. You've helped us understand its relationship to the beach. In a world where we have a lot of very tall light boxes, I think a house that sits down as harmonious to its neighborhood is to be applauded. We've never had an issue, actually, from the beginning with some of the architectural design. I completely understand the need and the want for your 4 porches, and I actually think it's a harmonious house. I think because it sits farther back, yes, it's a large house. I'm laughing when we're saying we're not trying to make it overly ambitious. Well, it's a pretty overly ambitious house. But for where it's located, for the size, and some of the other houses in 840 is actually a very good example. And actually, there's something about 840 that's also comes to play here. In its original 840, part of the house set high, and it was actually designed to fall down the hill away from the beach to lower its visual mass to the beach. Even with what we're trying to do to preserve it now, which they're doing a lovely job, that's still how that house presents, but it's about this size. So although, my argument at the beginning is we had an 8,000 square foot house and a 12,000 square foot roof, or I don't remember the exact numbers, but that roof, and the reason we had so much massing in roof line and ridge line is because of the covered porches. But even though I say that, when I see it in its current form and how it articulates and does fall back from the beach, I don't think that's a reason to stop it. I think you have built a house that's extremely harmonious architecturally with the neighborhood, and I think you're to be commended for that. And I think you've done an admirable job of listening and reacting to the board's concerns and coming fully prepared to explain your position. That's all.
Thank you very
Very
much.
much appreciated.
Okay.
So,
Are there comments from the public?
a huge silence.
And I would like to read, you do have letters in the file from supporting letters from the neighbors, which we do have, which we have read.
Yes,
Okay.
all adjoining neighbors.
So what would you like us to do? Would you like us to
You can
vote?
take a vote, please.
Okay. Okay. Motion to approve the application for 2 Meadow Lane. Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed?
Yeah, it's for written decision.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yes, to close for written decision for, sorry, thank you, for 2 Meadow Lane.
Good work.
Are you an aye, Jeff?
I'm an aye.
Okay. And we have a nay.
That's my
Okay.
aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very
Board.
much. Really appreciate it.
And again, sincerely, thank you
what?
for the amount of preparation.
Do you want it back?
Thank
It
you.
Thank
matters.
you.
It
And-
matters.
And thank you for your comments.
I might
Really.
use it for other applications,
course.
actually,
All right.
because it shows. You
Thank
did a
you.
good job.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah, we're keeping everything.
Keep those lights low, man.
All right.
This might be helpful in other applications.
So next up on the agenda then is, is 292 Ox Pasture Road for construction of a 2-story single-family dwelling with attached garage and an accessory pool house.
It's just the,
John, let's move a microphone back up to you if you could.
We
It's
can't
here.
hear.
They moved it to the
It's
table
down
because we
on
have
the
multiple
table.
speakers. Yeah, that'll work too. I'm just saying, you got there so quickly, give me 1 second.
Oh, yeah.
My paperwork out. All right,
And,
sorry,
and
John, go
Jorge
ahead.
Gomez is here, so while he's going to take you through the changes that I think are totally in response and hopefully satisfactory to the board. We were here on November 11th, and we submitted revised correspondence with revised elevations and renderings on November 21st. Just quickly, Jorge will take you through it in more detail or answer any questions. The west elevations modified to replace the 2 shed dormers above the garage with 3 gable dormers. That was an expressed request of the board. And this modification eliminates 2 double-hung windows. Now, remember, this house is 2,000 square feet less than the already approved house,
Right.
so. And then I think.
This is the house that we keep approving that never gets built, but go ahead.
Hopefully, 3 is a choice.
This is the third version, this is the third version,
Last
okay.
I think the board was concerned about light on the neighbor to the, I guess that's to the south, that's CMAC's house, I think. I didn't see anything in opposition from CMAC, but nevertheless, I understand your concern, so we eliminated those 5 transom windows and 1 double hung window to bring the fenestration down,
Yes.
which hopefully was, and then the second floor plan was modified to reflect the introduction of the new dormers, and Jorge can
Do you
walk
have
through it.
a rendering that we can see?
Absolutely.
isn't it in here?
Yeah, I would just like to.
Oh, put it up, yes, for
Yes.
others
Yeah,
to
so the
see.
public can see it.
Keep going.
So this
think
is
it
the
looks
elevation
better.
where,
What, yeah, can you, yeah, okay.
this is the elevation where we used to have,
Do me a favor and just walk around all, just quick, I know there aren't changes on certain elevations, but if you, would, for the public, just walk from,
Absolutely.
walk around the house first. that'd be great.
yeah, so as you can see, this is the front of the, this is the front
It
elevation.
says revised 1120.
Oh, it's this one. What?
There are
I'm
no,
sorry.
11, yeah,
ahead.
it was November 11.
alright. So for the main house, this is the north elevation, and there are no changes on this elevation.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the revisions of the 21st, right? We were here on November 11th, and then we submitted revised elevations.
Is this,
I have
You
revised.
got them? What are they dated? I'm sorry.
wait. Is this the newer thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a date on it. Is that possible?
21st.
21st.
It's just on the cover.
Thanks.
page.
It hasn't
Like
been
cover
Thank-
page,
thank
revised
you, John.
1120, isn't it? I think that's
No,
what I
no,
have.
then I'm
Yeah.
looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah.
We submitted them on the 21st, so.
Right, so the
Um,
ones that are,
A week ago.
right, so the
Yeah.
ones that I'm looking at on, that say revised 1120, where you've changed your Jaguar in the driveway from a green one to a blue one, is that are those the most
Yeah.
current
I think the
plans?
easiest thing is just go to the south, if you don't mind going out of order, because that's where the big fenestration change took place. We
Revised
took
11.
care of the,
I do
we
have-
removed those 5 transom windows and the 1 double hung window.
Yeah, so on the second floor, we removed these 5 transom windows that we had previously,
Oh, since
and
we
also we
quoted this.
eliminated,
Is that right?
So do you have those? What page?
that'll be page 11.
Page 11.
Maybe this is it.
Jane, Susan, do you have those? Page 11?
It's this one.
I'm
John,
out of
do you
it. I
have
can't
them?
find
I
it.
have that.
I'm getting to page 11.
Okay.
I'm on
7.
page 11.
Maybe I do. Okay. It was 2 pieces. I got it. No, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay.
It's,
For comparison, here is last
I
meeting.
don't want to see the last one.
So the transoms were, and we also took out 1 double hung window.
Mm-hmm.
So that was on the south. So why don't you go to the next one?
So on the west elevation, I know one of your concerns was about the dormers above the garage, so we went back to the originally approved scheme.
So it's the
So-
same as the.
So we have the same exact dormers and same windows. Instead of having 5 windows with 2 dormers, now we have, as original design, 3 dormers with a shed. I'm sorry, with gable dormers above it, and 3 windows.
You would just show the other elevations. I don't think there are changes, but just
There are
show-
not changes for the other elevations.
Can you pull up your page 15?
Well,
You okay?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it's like a public.
Oh,
record.
did you just go to warning?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just got
I just
one.
got a
I
Suffolk
just got
County
I didn't know what was
Safety
going on.
alert.
I'm sorry.
What's going on?
Issues with dialing 911?
Oh,
Uh-oh.
don't dial 911.
Okay, good.
What's the problem? I didn't get one, of course. I'm out of the, oh,
You don't
It
feel
tells
left
you
out,
911's
Susan.
not working, so if you have to call the landline if
Oh,
you need.
that's terrifying.
We're on
Okay,
our
yeah.
own.
The whole room did light up.
well, let's hope we don't have to.
Let them know the
Okay.
public alert works, we all got it.
That's
So-
pretty bad.
Okay, so-
That's pretty bad.
It's a little creepy, I think, but anyway.
So here's the renderings with the new dormers,
I
smaller
thought it looked
dormers.
better. Much better.
And these was the elevation that you had concerns about. I do have the older version if you would like to see it, but I'm sure you have it. in
No, we
front
like
of
the
you.
newer, at least I like the newer one better.
Yeah.
So I think we,
If I recall correctly, the 2 issues were those very tall windows and
Here.
the dormers over the garage with the
Yes,
issues.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
those were the 2 issues, the
Yep.
only issues that we were. Yeah.
Board members, board members.
Well, yeah, just one question. Do you have the survey with the house on the survey?
Yep.
I don't,
it's a weird lot. It's like a reverse barbell.
yeah, I don't remember. Oh, there, okay.
Yeah,
It's
So
a very
it's like you can't
large
see,
lot.
I mean,
This is the one with the.
I know you
iPad.
changed your,
Oh,
I know
weird.
you
Right,
changed
right,
your
right,
jurisdiction.
right,
You
right.
literally
Keep
can't see
improving
this
houses here.
place from
Okay, got it.
Remember,
I
I had the big
that.
house with the garages that were
Yes.
12 feet
Yeah,
tall, then we had the
and-
beautiful house that is now about
Ruddy
2,000
many
square
years
feet
ago,
smaller.
Remember?
Got it.
I thought,
Ruddy, many years ago on this.
And this is
Steve
the area
Ruddy.
where
I
we
lived
had the
right
very
near
tall
there.
windows.
Yeah.
I think
And
it's a much
that's way
more
back when there
attractive
was-
design than the original one we approved by
Yeah.
Yeah.
a wide margin. I think this is one of the nicest designs I've seen come before the board in a long time. That's my point of
you.
view. I think it's really nice.
Can you please remind me of the materials and the colors?
Absolutely. That was submitted also, but it's gonna be
Somebody owned it for 20
Um,
years, and then before that was Ruddy.
Here's a presentation with the colors and finishes. We are gonna use western red cedar on the roofing, lead coated copper for
Just the
metal,
highlights.
Oh, it's legendary.
Yuck.
and we're gonna use clapboard. It's actually gonna be wood painted wood. Benjamin Moore, that's the color. I do have samples if you like. And lime wash brick, and then we have oak, and very muted, very neutral colors. And this green, the fine print green that we have is for the doors.
And can you tell me the name of that green?
It's hard to see it over there. It looks
Yeah.
black. It's not black. I have a sample. I can bring it right now.
You look-
No, I
It's
know
the
I
name
think
of
we
the
approved the
color.
same one
Yeah.
last
Oh.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the same one.
Yeah.
Benjamin Moore Cliffside Gray PM
And
dash
fine
5.
fine prints of Europe is a Coach Green
Is it
30.
green.
Is that a flat color, the door, or
That's a good question.
gloss?
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be a satin. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen these doors lately that look really interesting. They're like plastic coated. They're
Yeah.
wooden, and they're just
Yeah.
varnished till they're
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
glass.
They actually, it's almost like an automobile finish.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
It looks interesting.
It's like glazed.
Anyway, sorry.
Glazed, exactly,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
right
that-
term.
I don't know how that does out here in the wet. Good luck. Whoever does that.
All right, board members.
I think it looks good.
Much improved.
Much
Yeah.
improved. It looks homier, actually, which of course
Jeff?
I'm big on.
No objections.
Okay.
Well, we hope it's improved. We did what you told us to do.
It's simpler
That
and
should happen all the time.
and nicer.
Thank you.
When we can.
I'm in agreement. The change in the dormers, especially from this
Mhm.
arriving view, I think makes a significant change. Actually, I think losing those high windows actually brings the scale of the house back down and humanizes. It's
Mhm.
a very nice job. It's a very handsome house.
Oh.
And especially with the lot, the way you drive into the property, the house is just, looks really good.
Too bad you can't see it from the street.
Well, you're right.
I like
it's
the
nice.
garage wall.
This is the third
That's
version.
my
of one of
comment.
you.
Yeah.
Just like
Are there any
that.
comments from the public?
There's no one left out here.
Anyone raising their hand? Okay, great. So I'm going to motion to,
I don't
Graham,
think it's historic.
to move to
Oh,
written
yeah, it is.
decision, to accept the application for 292 Ox Pasture Road for construction of a two-story single-family dwelling. Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Jeff?
Thanks, folks.
Jess and I?
all
Thank
right,
you.
All right.
Are you gonna-
Thank you very
finally.
much.
Are you
Now
gonna
maybe
actually-
you'll
are you
build
gonna- Are you
it.
gonna build this one?
That's the goal.
Okay,
Be helpful.
thank you.
Okay. 36 Main. Is that that?
Okay, that takes us to,
36
and
Main,
that takes us to,
Le Charlot, I think. Barristers, as I call it.
my paperwork over here. Okay, so that takes us to new matters. The first one is 36 Main Street. Do you have the affidavits and are they in order?
Yes, and yes.
Great, thank you. Okay, if you could please introduce yourself to the crowd.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm John Laffey, architect.
Can you pull the mic just close, yeah? Okay,
I'm John Laffey, architect for the owner of the building. We propose to do an external upgrade and facade on the building and wanted to run by a couple of the design issues that at least I feel or we hope will improve the beauty of the building. It hasn't been taken care of in a while, it looks like. So I have some drawings showing the existing structure and then the proposed design changes, being the existing being on top and the proposed being on the bottom. And there are three sides to the building. The first one is the west side, which is Main Street, and some of the changes that we're going to do here is first is we're going to create we'd like to create a long horizontal line along the top of the brick piers. That's going to allow us to put in some recessed lighting and get rid of the wall sconces that were from barristers. And
Whoa, whoa, recessed lighting
On-
in that white strip?
In the facade, and so it shines down on top of the canopy,
Well, I don't know.
okay? But we-
Not allowed, I'm not sure about that out here. I don't think we do that here. Do we on Main Street?
Well, it would go to replace, you see on top elevation?
Yeah, no, I've seen this more than one time in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I bet, okay,
but, okay, proceed, but
okay.
I don't think
We're
that's,
gonna, we'll be replacing all the windows on all sides of the building. On the upper portion, we have, we'll be replacing, basically in kind, the double hung windows. The one difference is that I changed I changed two of the light divides on each side of those triple windows from a 6/1 to a 4/1, I think just to match the proportions a little better.
yeah.
There's also, we have increased I've increased the size of the existing freeze board that's on top of the building. Because if you look on the side going down, on the other elevation going down Wall Street, see how the current facade sort of steps with the building? I just thought I'd take that lower line and carry that all the way around, so that way there's a cleaner relationship between the sidewall and the roof, sort of the roof parapet. And that is about 1 foot 2 inches tall. And then on in the lower portion, in the restaurant portion, right now you see there are sort of two banks of upper and lower horizontal glass. The owner wants to keep the lower portion only a wee bit higher, so it'd be 36 inches in the restaurants. So, and he'd like to put in these usually folding windows that'll fold into the restaurant. So it'll be right about table length, it'll be about that high, and go to the top of the where the existing windows are now. So that's also, to keep the alignment of the windows, we made the front door taller to match the windows.
You changed the opening of the door?
We didn't change the opening, we made it taller. Right now, there's a vertical V-groove board on top
Another-
of that.
Yeah.
So we just raised it up, but really, we're only changing the outside door, not the inside door, we're gonna keep the same, but it's the outside to keep the light alignment the same, we raised it up.
So the existing lighting, those above
Sconces?
above the door, there's conduit joining those lights, isn't there, with?
Yeah, that's the reason why we
Yeah,
have
it's
their
kinda
new,
sloppy looking,
we
yeah.
have our new band line, we have starting at the sill line of the windows.
Mhm.
And it creates a conduit by which particularly it's noticeable on Wall Street side of the
Right,
building,
right.
where we've got electrical lines, we've got
Yeah.
phone lines.
So this really kind of cleans up the
It kind
the
of puts it
facade
all
of the
into a
building, right.
package. And one of the things that, obviously, one of the not nice things about the building, it's got like that asbestos, like shingles on it, the bigger things. And we thought it might be really nice to clean that, get rid of those on the front facade, and maybe put in like a white shingle, like a wood shingle. Give a little more harmonies to some of the other white shingles that are in the village on Main Street.
Shingles or like a slat?
I thought we'd go with shingles for the sideboards. I mean, we can talk about it, but I think we'd give it a more of a residential feel than.
And it's similar to what currently exists, that the shingle look is.
Yeah, but these asbestos shingles are
Right.
they're a lot taller,
Yeah.
and they're sort of,
Yeah.
from like 40s or 50s, I guess, not sure when. And also I thought that creating this horizontal line also, it does have some relevance. I gave you guys the side of St. Ambrose. That's kind of the building we're trying to sort of cue off of for our commonality. So they have a band on top, we have a band on top.
But this is a historic building, right?
It's in the historic district, yes it is.
Yeah. Is the,
But the building itself.
Oh, the
building
building
itself.
itself, I think, is a historic building.
yes, it is.
I would probably
It's
suggest
historic
that.
structure.
And
Yeah.
one of them has a plaque. I worked on one of these. One of them has a plaque. Is this the one?
It's the Masonic Temple next door,
Yeah, but
that has a plaque.
oh, okay.
I've
But,
not seen one on this building anyhow.
okay. This building, there were alterations to the back. Things were removed a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, and then the whole
I think
like,
around where
rest-
the patio is.
Yeah,
exactly,
okay, so,
exactly.
but that's why I don't remember, that's why I think, I don't know what the history is, but there is a history. It's
I don't-
okay.
it's-
We'll
it's
find out.
I don't think Barrister's changed anything for many, many years when I was there.
Well, no,
so-
I'm talking farther back than that.
Oh. So those are the sort of the changes to the front facade, which I think hopefully are fairly minimal. And then the bigger changes are on the side of Wall Street, on that shares the street. And there's I did a little quick sort of design sketch for you showing the corner building going down Wall Street in the front. Similarly, we increased the freeze line up on the top of the building. On the second floor, we replaced all the windows. They're within an inch or two of the older windows that are there. Again, I sort of tried to mollify some of the light cuts on the side windows, went from 6/1 to 4/1. The band line, again, helped me, I thought, break up the facade, and also I was hoping to change the texture there to a stucco. That would be in kind with what's the same as St. Ambrose housing on the side of the street. And then we revised some of the windows in the restaurant to be more double hung to match the upper adjacent windows. And the windows in the restaurant in the front of the building, they have they will also be a gliding window with this new horizontal line. So it basically, so when the restaurant opens up, the windows start here, so all the tables inside don't have to be moved, and all the windows flank into the building, so it doesn't sit outside the building. On the back facade, didn't really do a whole lot. There's a bunch of vinyl siding back there right now and other things. And we thought we'd unify the whole massing back there by just creating like a boral siding to it. And then here, obviously, you can see we changed the back windows, the same scenario as existing. You can see the band line. So I think,
Are you removing some of the windows in the restaurant, it looks like?
There are 3 windows in the restaurant that are currently these big, that are currently gliding windows. So we're gonna make them a wee bit smaller and make them double hung in nature to match the top of the building.
Well,
But
here there's, well, I don't know, it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, but that's just 2 windows and then another one.
In the existing, these are gliding windows. One represents the guy that's sliding over. And so there are 3 sets of double windows, double gliding windows. And we're gonna replace them with single, double hung windows. To give the sort of building a more vertical feel.
So essentially, you're taking a historic building that was modernized over the years in a way that's inconsistent with the historic district and kind of returning it to what would appear as more historic.
We hope so.
Come see,
I hope
come
you
saw.
hope you walk past this building right now. That like the side on Wall Street with the wires and the sconces and
It's messy.
it's kind of messy. So so the inspiration was to go next door and look at the stucco on St. Ambrose and say that's a nice look. We changed the right now the door going up into the apartments up there. It's this like 6-panel, King James door from like the inside of a house. So we made a clear panel door, and we're going to opaque it, and that door is the exact door that they have over in the same type of door as on St. Ambrose side. So we're just trying to sort of clean up not the alley with the door, but
But, like changing the.
Here's my thing.
The stucco, I mean,
Yeah.
really, to make it look like the place across the
I
street, we
actually
need
don't
to
want it
know.
to look like the place across the
No.
street. Southampton's made up of a bunch of old historic buildings that each have individual character that built the streetscape. That's what people know. That's what they appreciate about historic Southampton. My first instinct is to put this out to Zach, and I think we need
Yep.
more historic information about this house before
I
about this
agree.
building, before we would touch it. By raising the front door, contemporizing the height of the front door, was that the original height of the front door? And that actually kind of matters. And if we're gonna put a frieze board across the front and change and do some of the, and like adding in brackets and fancifying the top of the building, may not have been its original intention in our streetscape, but we don't know. So I think between the Southampton Historic Society and having Zach take a look and give us a little bit of history on this building, I think that was in our best interest before we really move forward here. Because I think we need to understand if changes have made over the years or not. Were these the original window openings, were they not? Because we don't want to start tampering with historic fabric in a historic district if we're not 100% clear of what the original intent was.
I think the ones upstairs look like they've been there for forever.
Yeah.
The ones in Bristol, they have definitely been changed over the years from, at least what I can see from inside.
I won't be surprised. I
but-
won't be surprised if we find that the fenestration has changed on the front of the restaurant in terms of replacing the windows, but we don't know. So I think we'll get everybody's opinion here, but I'm not actually would not be comfortable not having a full report on the building from our historic consultant before we were to make a decision.
Great.
Okay.
And it sounds like you're just trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, making it so evening things up, I think is, well, we'll find out. But I think that changes the character of the
Yeah,
streetscape. I like that some's higher than others, some buildings and
Well, the
sort
buildings
of
are
patched
yeah.
together.
All the
that
wires
we'd
and
like-
pipes on the.
Well,
But
so that can be
those
fixed.
those can be
That's-
removed and fixed, 'cause
that's
those were
just
added
an
later.
outside thing. If
Yeah.
they wanted to fix that, they could have fixed
It's
it
kind of like
20.
the side issue we had on
Right now,
Shipley's.
that's
Yeah.
not, I mean, if they can't fix that, something's wrong. No, but the whole, like the materials, the height, the friezes, everything.
Yeah, they all make up the historic fabric of the building, which is then part of the historic
And
fabric
of
of the
the
street in the village, in the center of Southampton Village. So I think we're gonna put it out and get a
Yeah,
historic,
okay.
and let's do some research here on this. But other board members?
Yeah, I would agree that we should have it looked at
Okay.
before we make any decisions.
Are there any comments from the public?
Huge silence.
Okay. So I think we should adjourn this and let us send it out to Zach.
Anything I can do to help that process?
No, the
Why
building
not?
department, Alex, will send it out to Zach. Zach will do the report, and he'll get it back hopefully by the next meeting, prior to the next meeting, so we can react. In the meantime, I may wander my little self over to the Southampton Historic Museum and see what history, clearly, we may have a bunch of photographs that we can also find as evidence to use in this.
Excellent.
I'm gonna look at this blue sheet. Okay.
Thank you.
So, motion to accept the applicant's request for adjournment for 36 Main Street to December the 11th. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Let's
you.
get some more information here.
And we'll send it to Zach tomorrow morning.
Great, thank you. Next up, we have Tina and Cream, Semi at 80, I think it's right,
They're not
80 Wendange Lane. Or do you have the affidavits, and are they in order?
Yes and yes.
Okay,
Oh, it's John Bennett.
Good evening. I'm John Bennett, from Bennett and Reed. We have submitted the affidavits of mailing posting. This is a request for an approval to demolish an existing residence which was improperly listed as a contributing structure to the Village Historic District. We have a very exhaustive history of the property and reasons supporting the application that was submitted back some time ago.
We tried to get in there today. We couldn't get in there.
You couldn't get access to the property?
Physically in.
Oh, okay. Well,
Just saying.
yeah, just let us know. We'll get you in there.
Okay.
Because I know Zach visited it on Tuesday or Wednesday. I was hoping he had some comments, but
So were we.
so not that I've seen yet. Alex, do we have anything back yet?
I haven't seen a report from Zach yet, but I do believe he projected his site.
Yeah, because I know he's also quoted extensively in a lot of the paperwork you've handed us in
Yeah.
several sections from some work that was done prior. So I would want to also for him to go through how this representation of his comments and agree
yeah, no,
with
he
them.
was there.
Yeah.
He was there. Just a little bit of background. What happened to this? There's clearly somebody put this on the inventory And then subsequent to that time, before it was on the, made a contributing structure, it was totally rebuilt, changed. I mean, if you've seen the thing, you'll realize this is, I mean, it's really got dandied up into this faux Normandy house. And there's really, it's been in the sort of vernacular stepped on so much. There was an addition put onto it, a garage and living space addition that was put onto it. And these dormers, these rounded dormers that were put on. It was an accessory structure to a farm that's no longer there. Interestingly enough, on the adjoining what now is Peterson property, there were 3 or 4 structures there that were part of the farm. There was actually an authentic, like untouched barn, which I remember, which came down with the approval of the board, and a couple of the two of the outbuildings on that property were given demolition permits. One of them was retained. So the whole fabric of this, you know, it's hard to, even assuming arguendo that it hasn't been stepped on dramatically, it's hard to talk about preserving an accessory structure unless there's some sort of continuity with the overall use that was there, and of which there is none. And I think the report says that. But let's get you in there, because you're going to take a walk around this house and you're going to say anything that was historic here has been like stuccoed and masked over. But so I think we did a really good job of that. I think you should have the benefit, obviously, of Zach's report. And I'm guardedly optimistic that he will concur with the Civic Visions report. And you should have just from a visceral level, when you go down there, like.
So we really can't do anything until we get Zach's report.
Zach's report.
Yeah.
And
And if you need
I
to
would
get-
like to be able to get
I
a
was
site
there
inspection.
once before, for some other situation, I don't know what. I remember,
And I'm going to ask 2 things. I'd also ask Alex to go back to the building department, because this is not the first time the house has come in front of ARB since
That's right.
1950, and just find us if we have copies of any prior decisions.
On this house?
Yeah.
I went there.
Yeah, there was some.
Because
Nothing
it's
happened.
been, look, it's been around since like, what, 19, there's
Excuse me?
a few people have owned it over the years. I'm sure this is not the first time this has
Oh,
come
no,
in
there was,
front.
there was
There's
some
been
additions
several.
in the,
Yeah, in 60s.
There were some
Yeah,
additions.
1960.
to it. There was a
Two
big
Well,
That's
addition
when
off
it
the
became the
back.
chateau.
Yeah.
Excuse
What a-
me?
That's when it became the chateau.
That's when it got fancified. Yeah.
I think
had
it's
some other
charming, but I see
metaphors,
that
but-
it's made out of paper mache practically at this
It
point.
literally is. You'll
That's
see
what
that.
I
Yeah,
remembered
yeah,
about when
yeah.
I went there before.
It has, it's unbelievable. There's no sheathing or siding. It's literally like.
Yeah.
It's like
uh,
Disneyland or
it's
something over there.
sprayed stucco with
It's-
mesh.
Yes, it's really
crazy.
pretty effective from afar, I must
So
say.
I think the best
Disney
chance is to adjourn
Yeah.
until we get Zach's report and
Okay.
get signed that board members that want to see it can see it,
Does anybody wanna
because
get in
we
there,
weren't
though?
able to get in.
So, I can arrange to have the caretaker over there at any time.
Yeah,
How do you wanna
great.
do that?
Well,
Anyone
it'll
wants
go
to call-
through the building
Want
department.
to call my
Yeah.
office anytime?
Yeah.
Alex, and we'll arrange.
Alex or Rovita will reach out
Yeah,
and we'll
that's
arrange
fine.
it.
Can't we
Both
just
sides
call?
are back and forth.
Can't we just call his office, please?
What's that?
Can we just call his office?
Well, that goes to the building
I
department.
don't, I
so-
don't have a problem with an individual board member calling
That
John
would-
to arrange
honest to
access,
God.
if John doesn't have a problem
If John
with it.
doesn't
I don't
mind,
care. I don't care.
it would be much more
Well,
I
I'm-
opened the
streamlined.
gate up for Zach. That's how I
I know
it was
you
there.
did, but what I'm going to say is, because there's several board members and I don't want to disrupt process here, I
Okay.
find if they call you instead of us going through the computer program to go through all of that. But Alex, you and I and Rovita will talk about it offline, but we'll figure out how to get it done
Okay.
quickly. But I know it's more than one person that needs to go. So, yeah.
But as long as there's not 3 of you there.
No,
No,
we
there
get
won't be
that
3.
part.
There won't be 3.
It'd be like if
Are
there's
there any
one
comments,
person.
any comments from the public?
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So I'm
Is it my adjournment? Because you guys aren't ready either. You don't have your history.
I'm happy
Oh,
to adjourn it.
wow.
Which would you like? Either way, you're going to December the 11th. So what would you like, John?
He wants
Make
you
it
to
your
do
adjournment.
it.
Just make me feel better for
He
once.
wants
Do
you
it?
to do it.
Make it your adjournment. Make me
Okay,
feel better.
all right. Chairman's request to adjourn 80 Wyandanch Lane to December 11th until such time as we receive the historic report from Zach. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Thanks a million.
Great, thank you. Okay, then we have a bunch of adjournments. Next up is.
Lindemann.
Is, hang on, we're up to 1340, 1384
30
minimum.
Foster Crossing, the porch.
Oh, sorry, of course.
Screened-in porch,
Hang on. My pages are
from
wrong.
memory.
Yes, Lindemann, 31 Foster Crossing, thank you.
Hi, good evening.
What do we do for, what was the last problem?
This is Jake Vanderwatt for Lindemann.
Okay,
The issue last time was the divisions in the screens, so we adjusted to fit more into the existing house.
This is the new one?
Is this gonna be put up
Thank you.
on this?
Excuse me?
I'm just asking
Oh.
if we'll put it up on,
Oh.
for everyone else to see.
No.
So what was the objection before? Now they put,
We just added more divisions in the screens.
yeah?
here's the screen pattern before.
Yeah,
See,
before it
there's a
was
bar
just
here.
one division.
Yeah,
It was more contemporary expression screen. And now it goes all the way down. This
I don't-
bar's been
I
dropped.
think it's not as good. I'm not down with that.
Okay.
I think it's,
Well, this is the new one.
yeah, but I like the old one. I don't know who wanted that. I don't think that improves the look of it. No one could see it, of course.
No, and then we did have a letter to someone.
Oh, I know, but that's not
Yeah.
our purview.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Right.
This is not visible from the
Wha-
street whatsoever, is that?
No, it's in the rear of the house.
I don't know who asked for that. It certainly wasn't me. I don't like how it looks. But I think it's more traditional the other way, the October 13th.
Can you just rotate the picture? This way?
Yes.
This way?
Keep going. If it faces us, they can see it on camera. Thank you.
And then pull it a little towards you. There you
There
go.
we
Thank
go.
you. I just think that's
John, comments?
I actually prefer the new design. I think the old one is kind of busy with all of the divided panes, but
You're saying you like the older one?
No,
No,
he
the
likes
new
the
one.
new one.
Oh, the newer one seems to have all the divided.
The
Yeah.
newer one is the one with the more divisions.
oh,
Yeah.
I
got
don't
it.
like that.
Well, here's the,
October 13th.
yeah, and the 20th.
So, right,
I just wanted to double check, John, because
you're right.
I say, I'd be willing to vote for the October 13th, not the new one.
Jeff?
I was good either way, so,
Oh, okay.
no, I was good with the original design,
I think it looks better, actually.
Which?
with
The
the original.
13th.
Okay, so we all agree, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any
Go back
comment, are there any
to the-
comment?
We're going
Are there any
backwards,
comments from the
sir.
public?
Backwards, okay.
Okay.
That has happened here.
I don't know where, I
I don't think
First
that's
time.
ever happened.
all right.
What?
Sorry?
I
What?
don't think that's ever happened before.
Nope. We had a discussion that we could once.
Well, they used to have
Two
like, do you
meetings
like
ago,
this
yeah.
one or do you like that one?
Oh,
which
no, we don't
wasn't-
like options,
Wasn't
yeah.
appropriate.
Okay.
I'm willing to approve
The first one.
No,
the October 13th
And you can
plan.
live with October 13th.
How's that?
I can live
Okay.
with that.
To the point earlier from Jane, thank you, that we did receive a letter, but the issue, the letter has to do with neighbor issues, lot noise, and neighbor noise, which is not in the purview of this board. But I'm assuming that the owner of this house has received the letter and will
I'm not sure
Re-
about that. I don't
tell them it's in the file. It's a letter that talks about the noise complaint from the
Okay.
neighbors from rentals
And
in the
so they were
building.
concerned
It's
since
not in
it's a
our
screen
purview,
porch.
It's not in
it'd be
your
nice if you showed.
jurisdiction.
It has
It'd be
nothing,
nice
we
if you
can't do
showed it.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going, motion to accept the this will be fun. Notice to
31.
accept the application for 31 Foster Crossing based on drawings dated October 13th. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We just went backwards on you.
Sorry.
It happens, thank you.
Maybe we just had to see it.
Sometimes we need to see it
Yeah,
to understand which is a better option.
It's stamped in. Oh, it's stamped in.
Yeah,
It's
they're
not
stamped.
dated.
They're stamped
I
October
don't know if the
13th,
drawings.
My
and
drawings-
stamped
well-
November 20th.
No, the drawings are, they're 13 for the ones we approved.
But no, is the date of the drawing, of the rendering? That's just the stamp in. She's right, Jackie. not looking. Does it say?
The only date I have is the,
It's too
vill-
small, I can't
all
read
I have is the village stamp.
I might be able to read it.
All right.
Whoa, 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 we have to give this to Jackie. The
What do you need,
date,
Jackie?
I got it, I put
October 12th.
October 12th.
So for, okay, do you see it, that little, okay.
Can I be a pain and have you reopen the record and correct that?
Yes, you can. Motion to reopen the record for the application for 31
Second.
Foster Crossing. There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the application for 31 Foster Crossing for drawings dated October 12th
That's what it says on the drawing.
on the drawings. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay,
Okay.
here we go.
All right, so adjournments, and now we're at 30, new matters, 1384 Meadow Lane LLC. Do you have the affidavits, and are they in order?
Yes and yes.
Great.
My name is John Bennett, Bennett Reed, in Southampton. Glenn Cordova from Blaise McCoy BMA Architects, project architect here with me. The application seeks to approve to redevelop a property located at 1384 Meadow Lane. The existing house, as far as we've been able to tell based upon aerials, was constructed between 62 and 76. There are photographs of the existing home at page 9, and I think you'll agree with me that it's not of any significance. Doesn't need any check marks that would give you pause. So we want to demolish the existing home and the pool, but maintain the existing tennis court. Everything complies. We comply with all the zoning setbacks. I know there was an issue it raised at one point by the building department, but I think we're past that. So that should be any zoning compliance should be a non-issue. So we want to construct a new two-story residence. Obviously, contemporary architectural styles are common in the surrounding area. Amongst some beautiful examples are Blaise McCoy's office, who designed, we recently worked with them on 1990 Meadow Lane, which is a structure that this board approved. So we think it meets with the design elements of the area, and I'll have Glenn present it.
I just want to say, I think it's a really beautiful cottage.
Beautiful.
Cottage, dude, existing cottage. Just
Oh, the
wanted to say,
existing cottage?
it's a cottage. I think it's a beautiful existing cottage. It's just all I wanted to say.
I guess reasonable minds can.
It did have some charm.
I don't have this in my packet.
What?
This, I can hand this out to you
That's okay,
after.
that's-
I just added this, yeah.
You just added this.
I just added this, yeah.
Oh, I
So,
must have looked it up online. I'm looking in here and I'm not seeing it, but I must have looked it up online.
so as John mentioned,
don't
I'm
have
Glenn Cordova from
No,
BMA
that's
Architects.
what they want to do.
But wait a minute,
Yeah.
is what you're showing
the
now was not
original
distributed ahead of
Yeah,
time?
no, original
Correct,
one.
I can give you a copy right
It's
now.
on
though.
page 9,
This is a new one here, hold on a second.
the original one. If you're looking
Yeah,
for it.
Original is on
What's
page
the-
9.
Yeah, what's your
There isn't any 9. This has no page numbers, does it?
This is was just added.
Oh.
Precedent image.
That's not what we're
Wait,
looking
no,
for.
we were looking for what's in existence right now.
Oh, that
Page
is on
9.
page 9.
Page 9.
We don't have a page. I don't have a page.
Yeah,
nine.
it's in there.
I have A10.
It starts
Yeah,
at
it's
10.
here, it's here. I have it, it's page 9.
I can pull it up, hold on a second.
Someone's pulling apart your stuff.
Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah, could you
Right?
send somebody over and help us?
I don't know.
Well, the page number is on the left
Here it is.
instead of the right. I see it. Okay, well, it's obscured by the tennis court fence.
Yeah.
So, okay. Never mind.
It's sort of like a
I don't like the,
vertical siding,
it's okay.
but the
Let's go ahead.
Okay, so, let me just pull this back up. So, when we were commissioned by the new homeowners at 1984, they mentioned our project at 1990 Meadow Lane. And what they liked about that in particular was the material palette, which I have up on screen right now. It's a western red cedar with a very dark brown, almost black siding.
This is 1990.
This is
not the
1990.
subject house. I just want to make
Correct.
that clear.
Correct, this is a
Right,
precedent
This is
image.
inspiration.
Oh, this is not the house where...
No, no, no.
Correct. I'm sorry.
Just, you know what?
No, it's okay.
Yes, okay.
So,
this shows the actual materials in real life, and the reason why we have this here is because the new project follows a similar style in terms of
We should just go to that.
our palette.
Yeah, I was wondering how you were gonna fit that house on the lot. So-
Oh, that's a double wide lot.
So,
Yeah.
go ahead, sorry.
That's a double lot, yeah.
So here we have all the same material palette, Western red cedar with a custom finish, dark brown, almost black, like Shishugibon finish, which is like a charred wood. And then we have matte black anodized aluminum windows, very thin, minimal frames, and limestone panels. These particular ones were a Chantil Juan from Croatia. And I'll go to the next slide. And what we're trying to do here with this image in particular is be sensitive to the streetscape in terms of how much presence we have. Now, we needed to maximize the width of the buildable envelope, but we wanted to mitigate the light pollution that is evident
You
on.
didn't need to maximize the width, you want to maximize.
Well,
the width.
well, correct,
Okay.
correct. As per the client's wishes.
That's fair.
So what we tried to do here, we have about an 80-foot wide building footprint. And what we have here is probably about 30 feet, 35 feet of actual glass on the streetscape. And what you can see, when I go to the next slide, is the entry sequence is recessed. So that big two-story stone wall leads you into an entry courtyard. And the idea there is to keep the light that is emanating from the house set back from the actual face of the building. And then we have here it shows again, so you're coming up the entry sequence. So we have a punched window with a little bit of glass there. And then you see that the glass is really primarily on the second floor, and it's set back because that is a balcony. And
If I may, you remember that that Roger Ferris house on the water a couple of months ago? That was the whole concept of having the recessing the lighting significantly. And then, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Was the Ferris house the one on?
Ox pasture.
It's at the end of.
Ox pasture.
Ox
Ox
Pasture.
Pasture, thank you,
Yeah.
thank
Well,
you.
we've had two. You had one at the end of Oxford, and there was another big modern house we had down on.
Yes,
The
yes.
Roger Ferris one was on Ox pasture.
Was on Ox Pasture.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
so beyond what you see over the stone wall in the foreground with the punched window, above that is the second floor, which is recessed because it's a balcony. And then beyond that even is, oops, I'm sorry, it didn't show there. Beyond that even, which I'm showing right kind of here where my cursor is, this wall goes back in. So your entry is way back here. So we're really keeping that light pollution off of the front facade,
I like to think of light level as opposed to.
light
pollution.
level. We also have a language of slats, like we had similar on 1990 Meadow Lane, which would be in the same wood. And as we go around the house, on the side of the building, on the west and the east sides, we are really limiting our windows for privacy within our home. But
I'm hard
also,
pressed to call it limiting, but go ahead. Oh, this side, okay.
oh yeah,
Let's look on the
I
other
mean,
side.
there's not many windows there. So we're really limiting privacy within our house, but also, again, just the light that would be emanating from the house and potentially disturbing the neighbors. This is the western side. So again, you see, this is the other side of the two-story wall at the entry. So we have two bedroom windows stacked over here. So that is the largest amount of light that would be emanating from the front elevation. And again, on the west elevation, we are limiting the amount of windows there.
Can you just go back for a second?
Mhm.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
This is the ocean side. And again, a similar strategy. With the 80-foot width of the building, we basically carved out on the right side in this image. And we recessed the outdoor dining and an upstairs balcony as well. So we're limiting the amount of glass glazing that is on the perimeter also.
Can you just go back to the main, where's the inspiration house?
Was that page 17 you were just on?
Yep.
Yes, I believe.
That's,
That was approved, it doesn't have the recessed lightings, and the percentage of glazing is probably much higher.
The percentage of glazing is much higher. We do have a recessed entry here, but we do have glazing across the entirety of the second floor here.
And could you go to the front again, the side which this?
Of the existing, of the proposed house.
Proposed
Yeah.
house.
Would you like a closer view?
Yeah, actually, yes.
That's very helpful to see the recess.
So you're saying that that wall covers the entire front entrance?
This wall, so
It's hard to
this,
see from this angle exactly how.
this solid wall stops. It might be easier if I go
Go back to the facade here.
to this one here.
Yeah, there we go.
So, okay.
So you can see here, so we go from solid, and then we have a little bit of glass, about 4 feet of glass, and then this whole area here is recessed, about 30 feet back,
This is the second floor.
as is the second floor in that area there.
It's recessed, but it's still all glass with a glass front door.
Correct.
Sure.
But there is an overhang, there is a continuous overhang above.
And the pool's in the front yard then?
The pool is in the rear yard, on the ocean side.
What am I?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the existing house. Never mind.
Tennis courts in the front.
Tennis court is in the front and is,
Yeah.
and had already been approved and constructed. I think that's it. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Jeff?
For my part, I'd like to see a streetscape, much in the way that the applicant for 2 Meadow Lane did from the beach and from the road.
Well, you have one from the road, right?
Mhm.
No, I think he wants a streetscape.
Yeah, I
Showing
saw that.
three
right.
houses to either side.
On
I
the
want to see
surrounding
how
houses.
this
Okay.
fits into the dunes, how it compares against the other houses, whether it's 3 or 4 to the left and to the right, both on the street and on the beach.
Well, there's a, I should add that there's a massive,
know,
well-established and continuing to build itself up dune in front of the house. So, but we'll show you that.
Oh, dune, I thought you were talking about the house, so.
No, the house
Anyway.
is, the house is decidedly not massive, no.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm not from Missouri, but I still would like to be proven, shown that.
No problem.
Okay.
I am from Missouri, so.
What would you like to
And,
say?
and related to that is also the lighting issue, which, on the house much to the east, remember, John, you had put forward a bunch of, lightscapes. I don't know what the exact terminology might be for that, but I'll let the other board
Which one
members
was that?
speak to
A
that.
nighttime illumination,
Yeah.
what was the house? It was on Meadow,
Was it
Gem
on?
Lane or Meadow Lane?
No, that was the one that was, east, far east, like,
No,
Oh, no.
it's down off of Murray.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, remember,
Sorry,
because
yeah,
we had
yeah.
real
It's
concerns
like a
about the
night
forward
vision.
lights on there.
Leroy Street House?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Remember
think
it?
so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
give you the
Yeah.
samples of
Okay.
it. Yeah, sure.
Oh, so I agree with Jeff on the streetscape and more details about how this would be illuminated at night. From a material standpoint, I'd like to think, I mean, a lot of contemporary homes along Meadow Lane, obviously. But the materials almost make the houses blend into the landscape, which I think is very important. I have an issue with the black, box look of this house against the sky, against the surrounding landscape.
Is there a color that you would,
Oh, I think we need to
Prefer
see
or-
samples
Well,
first.
yes, we need to see samples, but let's
Okay.
get all the comments.
But it's something that weathers gray, I think, the materials aren't an issue, it's the color of the material.
Okay.
We'll talk to people about that, yep.
Susan?
Well, I have issues with the amount of light that it sheds, recessed or not. I just think those days have come and gone, that the sensitivity to the environment, which we just went through on another application and came out ahead, that this is insensitive for dark skies.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put for the
John,
record,
let, John, John, let us, let's
I'm sorry, I
let's
thought
get all
Susan
the,
was finished. I
no, let's
apologize.
get all the
My
board
apologies,
comments.
My apologies.
It's no debate.
I'm finished.
Okay, Jane?
I would agree with John that it appears to be like a black box along the top, and I think that doesn't really blend with the landscape and the beachscape. And I also think that this particular rendition that you have up right now is really a glass wall. So I don't see how that's not gonna have a lot of light pollution towards the beach.
Which is,
I tend to agree partially because your interior is all white as well, that when you light this thing up at night, especially from the beach side, and also, and also, you know, we really have not been favorable to houses that are see-through houses. So you've got an all-glass wall in the front and an all-glass wall in the back, so you're bleeding through, but you also have the whole through line of this house that goes from Meadow Lane straight through the house out to the water. I think when you look at the window to wall ratio in this house, it's massive. I think you've got a whole lot of glass up across the back, and I'm concerned about privacy issues with it. So I think what would be interesting to see, and I personally think it's too much glass across the back, and I think it's a little too much glass across the front. But in terms of what Jeff is asking for, just a streetscape showing this house, I'd also like, John, you remember what we did for the other house where they did it at night?
Yeah,
So
it
we
was
could
the
actually
Leroy
the
Street
light-
house. It was
yes.
the old, it was built on the old Rune Arledge house at
Right.
the end of.
But we'd like to, but remember that you did us the rendering that showed the light. We'd like to see both of those.
Across the pond.
Yeah, from
Yeah,
across the pond.
from across the
Yeah,
pond.
right, sure, we can get.
I'd like to see that from the beach side and the Meadow Lane side.
Sure.
Okay?
So I'm sorry.
So I think the overall comment is the window to wall ratio is just too high from what we're seeing. There's just too much glass facing both directions. And it looks like it floats completely without structure, which is, if you look at the guidelines, even at the contemporary houses that we've done, the total glass structure of this house seems to be excessive to the front and rear elevations. That's what I'm hearing. Are there any comments from the public? We have an inactive public tonight. All right.
We'll take your comments back to the client.
Pardon?
We'll take your comments
Okay.
back to the client.
That'd be great. So, do you think you can be ready for
What do you think?
December the 11th with all the renderings?
Well, December 11th means the week before.
Right.
Yeah,
So
the
it'd be-
Tuesday before.
It's the Tuesday before, that's fast, I'm just telling you.
That's fast.
that's really fast,
Or we
really.
can put it on if you're ready, but it's a long, that's a quick turnaround. What's today, the 20th?
That would be
27th.
the
That'd be the
Subsequent meeting
5th.
is then.
the
So it would
5th, right.
it would
5th of
be
December.
The 5th,
Next,
You'd have
next
to get it in
Tuesday.
by, you'd have to get it in by the 5th.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
gotta talk to the client.
Or you could wait for the Christmas Day meeting.
no, we're not doing it.
Yeah, because the one
They had a
after, the
meeting-
one after December 11th
It
is not
was
until
scheduled
January.
for
so-
Christmas Day, but we decided we
Yeah.
can't come.
Didn't we do that 2 years ago? We had
Yes,
like the
yes,
day
yeah.
after Christmas? That
Well,
was
yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
And no one comes.
Scheduling meetings on days when you can't get
So
in the
then
building.
it's January what?
No, one of your boards is having a January 2nd meeting.
8th.
That's okay.
January 8th would be the next
Yeah.
meeting, if we follow the.
Yeah, it'll be January 8th.
Do you wanna do that?
I'd like to shoot for getting it in by the 5th.
Okay.
Well,
Okay,
we
we
can
can always
certainly be,
adjourn again.
All right.
we'd be happy to have you. How's that?
Okay.
In the Christmas
Okay.
spirit.
Exactly.
So motion to accept the applicant's request for adjournment to December the 11th for 1384 Meadow Lane LLC. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So just it's December 11th, but Glenn's
His
gonna have
due-
his stuff
yes,
by
that's
in
the
by
meeting
the
date.
5th.
By the
Your
fifth. Okay.
materials date's the 5th.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
All
got
right,
it.
thanks.
okay,
And if not, you know,
yeah, we would understand.
because there's not
I
another
will.
meeting after that until January. so-
We'll pull it off. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Okay. So next on the docket is Garrett Pike, 62 Dale Street. Do you have the affidavits and are they in order?
Yes and yes.
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Well,
My
sir,
name's
yourself?
Tom Trufaro from DTT Designs.
Okay.
Thank you.
And this is for a demo evaluation of existing dwelling and construction of a one-story single-family.
Tom Trifaro, Trifaro.
Okay? If you just remember to aim any materials to us so the camera can pick them up
Sure.
the right way. Thank you.
This one? So we're proposing a new dwelling, taking down an existing structure and rebuilding 1,744 square feet, single story. I prepared this today just to show you what the neighbors' houses look like. Right,
Can you do me a favor and take us through what you actually submitted to the board that we reviewed? Let's start there.
sure, of
Yeah.
course. Submitted the floor plans for single-family, single dwelling.
Okay.
And then it's gonna be a finished basement as well.
Okay.
So the design elements relate with the area. Again, one story, and that's why I provided this to show, you could
Yeah.
see the height, very similar.
Can you do me a favor and take your page 1 of 7 and put it up so we need the public to be able to see what we're talking about. There we go. Thank you. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're moving the house forward, of course. We're within the setbacks.
Well, first you're gonna ask to take the house down, right?
Exactly.
I think that should come first, because
Correct.
Okay.
I have the house
it's a
also.
1949 Cape Cod
Yes.
cottage-like structure.
Here it is here, and there's probably like a 1-on-2 pitch, a 1-on-12 pitch. So it's really not that appealing from the street. So we're gonna correct that. We're gonna put a 10-on-12 pitch on the new dwelling.
I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second. Would you like us to deal with the demo permit first, is what you're
Yes.
saying?
I-
Okay,
yeah,
sure,
Okay.
I have
sure.
a problem when
I
it's
would.
just an assumption that we're gonna tear it down,
Clear
only
the lot
because
first.
it is a 1949 cottage
Good
and,
house.
If the board has visited the site, the house is not in good condition
Which
at
we have.
all. There's different floor heights. When I went in the basement,
Yeah.
a lot of it's compromised, so,
Well, just to be clear, in historic districts especially, we don't really do demolition by neglect. So sometimes we don't care if they're in bad shape, but the house is in historic.
Understand,
This
okay.
is, you're not in a historic district, but just as a record, so people hear us say that, you know.
understandable.
but go
Okay.
ahead. Okay.
and
Um,
sometimes we try to use what's there.
And sometimes.
Correct.
Sometimes there are houses that have significance to us.
Trust me,
whether
my
it's-
my slogan to my business is why move, improve.
Mhm.
So I want to improve different things and use the material, but this was beyond repair, honestly.
Okay.
And it's for
Well,
everybody's
well,
best interest, I believe, to
Well, let's
build
address
now.
what the board thinks. Did you have a chance to drive by?
Yeah, I would have to agree on this one. I think the
Thank
house
you.
itself, it's not significant in design. And unless it's like a historic structure, which it's, I don't believe it is, I don't have any issue with the demolition.
Okay.
As long as we know that this was built in 1949 and no one that we know of has lived there or been part of it, then
Mm.
I don't have a problem with it coming down either. I
Okay.
just don't like it to be assumed that
Agree.
I am completely with you, and thank you for bringing that
Yeah.
forward.
Yes.
What I would say is because we're not in a historic district, and our options are to landmark or not
I
landmark.
understand.
And when I went through the landmark characteristics, I couldn't, it's not an important architecture feature. It's not the work of a significant architect. We went through with them.
and it's
From-
not even really significantly a Hampton's cottage.
Yeah.
No,
but-
and it's been all.
And
and-
George
yeah.
Washington didn't say that.
So I would say that, from my perspective, I didn't see anything that would warrant landmarking it.
I agree.
So I think what Alice would like us to do right now is to motion, to not seek landmark status
Correct.
for 62 Dale Street. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Now.
Now that we've agreed
Okay.
to take the house down, now tell us what you would like to replace it with.
Thank you for
Now we can keep
agreeing.
going. Sorry if we got a little out of
That's
order in our
okay.
process here.
So, like I said, we're building a 1,744 square foot house, and it's relatable to the area, which is, I think, beautiful, with quaint houses. That's why we didn't build a two-story structure. We stayed within the sky exposure plane, so we considered that. And we looked at the surrounding houses as well. That's why we did like a little double reverse in the front, which is pretty much similar to the house, I believe, it was the south side. And we're just modernizing and updating what's there.
Okay.
I believe it's gonna add a tremendous value to the neighborhood.
Can you take us through materials and colors, please?
Yes. We're gonna use a hardy board on the outside. It's gonna be white. The
Okay.
builder had a gray sample, unfortunately, but it's gonna be white. This is very light gray, but it's gonna be white. And we're gonna
Okay.
use black mullions for the windows.
No, you're not.
So it'll be black.
That's not gonna happen.
Okay.
And then it'll be white up top where the texture 111 is to differentiate for the design.
Okay.
How about some cedar shingles?
This is really it's a cedar shake. It's called a fiber cement straight. So it's straight. So these are cedar shakes, believe it or not. Yeah, this goes right in, but it's a perfection style. This is cut
What's
straight.
it made out of?
Excuse me?
What's it made out of?
Concrete.
This
I
is,
think.
cement board, a fiber board.
So it looks as though it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right, but this is gonna last.
Okay. I
And
will
we're gonna use
I will say this is a LEED certified construction material.
Mhm.
And then you've got board and batten going on in the eaves here.
Yeah, same material we're gonna
Okay.
use.
And
then
what's this molding situation below that? Are those dental moldings or what are
Yes,
those little boxes?
dental blocks, yes.
Okay.
But there's a detail, I believe, on page 1 of the drawing.
Yep.
You could see that. I did like a little side section.
Okay.
I don't know if you could zoom in on this.
Okay. I'm gonna make an assumption you haven't watched very many of these meetings.
No.
Okay. Okay, and I say that because it comes to white houses with black windows, which will come up in a minute.
Okay, you got
Okay. All right. And so I've got the south elevation, I've got the north and the east elevation. The idea is you've got a sort of a transom window over a set of sliders.
Yes,
And
in the
those,
back.
and what you're calling light as code is what, a light bar?
Yes.
Okay.
It's diffused light.
Okay. And the roof is,
Architectural shingle.
and you want it to be black?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
You're not going to see really the roof from the front because there's not
Oh,
a
but
porch.
You
There's
know,
not-
but when you
Sorry.
drive down the street, you can see the.
Right.
Anyway, okay, so why don't we get you some comments? Who wants to?
Okay.
I'll go first.
I could start.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, no black windows, no black roof. It's just, we can't have that. It's too harsh. It doesn't fit into anywhere. The frieze board on the west elevation seems to clash with the, what's that, the, AZAC trim, AZAC trim black? With the,
Yeah, well, that'll get changed to white.
so, but why do you have the frieze board with, it's not even with anything. If you're gonna use, what is this, what is he calling this? Shiplap?
Oh, up here in the board and batten?
Oh, board and batten.
Yeah.
So why is there then, which I could live with, but then underneath the frieze board has
The dental moldings.
Right.
whatever that is,
And it's
dental
on a,
block.
it's
Which
on a
is
freeze
off-
board.
Yeah.
which has not, to me, is fighting with the board and batten somehow.
And does,
So you rather just maybe the freeze board instead
Well,
of?
maybe a different frieze board, it seems
I'll
mingy.
tell you what, let's get all the comments and we'll,
Okay.
Okay.
let everybody
And
comment, then we'll
I'm
address
not,
them all
ha-
together.
I think so is are those doors on the west elevation? Is that the front?
Yes.
So
Yes,
has
it is.
Where's the door? Is that the door?
Side. Yeah, it's on the north elevation.
Oh,
The north elevation is the front door?
Yes.
oh, I see it.
So is that 3 sliding glass doors in the front? On the
That's
west
3,
e-
yes. That's in the master suite.
The master suite faces the
The
street.
front.
This faces
Correct.
the
And
street
you
with,
want to have giant
sliding doors
windows
into the
facing
front yard?
street?
Well, we're gonna landscape it properly and
No, no,
obviously.
no,
yeah.
no, no.
No, wait, so where's the front door, or where's the
It's
door
on
to
the,
get in?
you actually go into
The north elevation. If you look at the
Oh,
floor
right, right,
plans,
right, right,
if you look at the floor plans, everything makes sense.
Well,
Well,
we
the
don't.
floor plans aren't our purview.
Our purview is actually
I
next to
wanted to
it.
say that the east elevation, that extra 3 panes of glass
Up
above
top,
is really not helping anything, and it seems like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have 6, are those 6 sliding glass doors or just 6?
That whole door opens up. So that door,
entire door opens up?
whole door opens up to the, there's gonna be a pool in the yard.
That seems like much too much glass for
There's,
the neighborhood.
I think it's, well,
Yeah,
I'm
and
listening. Go ahead.
These are fairly narrow lots, so light pollution is going to be,
Okay.
a consideration for us. I have a question about the setback, that the existing house is considerably farther back, centered actually in the property. With the new structure, how does that align with the surrounding homes? Is it far forward?
It's around 20 feet forward.
But how is
Of
that
the
in
existing.
relation to the surrounding
of
homes?
other
though?
of the
Yeah,
neighbors.
the one to the, on the south side is back a little further, also north, but not really that much,
Yeah,
not
we-
extreme. I could bring something in where
Yeah, I'd like to
it
see
shows
that.
exactly.
How
Yeah,
the
we're-
new
we'd like, you probably need to bring an aerial.
Where they are,
a
right.
neighborhood aerial.
Mhm.
Okay. Jeff?
Tom, I think that the
Gotta start
comment
over.
of whether or not you had a chance to see many of our hearings is well founded and without any insult intended. There are many things on this application that are not consistent with what this board has previously approved. The front elevation, which is the west elevation, is it not?
That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct.
So so what I'm looking at is what I think is the front door, which looks like it has 3 sliders.
No.
No.
Yeah, that's not.
The entrance is on the north elevation.
The north
Jeff.
elevation.
The west elevation
The
is
front door,
actually,
the front for the house doesn't face
Yeah,
the street.
we wanted
it
to
faces the
look
side.
like that, of course,
Yeah.
because that's where the front door normally is, and, you know.
But doesn't Dale Street run north-south?
Yes, it does.
And isn't this on the, oh, okay, so you're right, so, wait.
Right.
And then this house is on the east side
The east side, correct.
of the street, okay.
Is it?
Yes.
So,
so the west elevation is just the bedroom, the windows facing the street.
Correct.
What's on the screen now, and it says proposed front elevation.
Right.
Looks like
What-
three sliders, 3 transom windows.
That's right. What he's calling the front elevation faces the street, which really means it's a side elevation, but it's the front is that it faces the street.
Right, correct.
Which is also, it's egress as well, correct?
Yes, yes.
So driving down the street, I'm gonna see what's listed as the proposed front elevation, correct?
That's
Yes, correct.
So I'm gonna be seeing 3 sliders, wide steps, and transom. Yeah,
Right.
okay.
Wait,
To
why are there,
me, it doesn't speak to a traditional Southampton house, not that it has to be mimicking every Southampton house, but between the windows, the dental moldings, the trim on the top, the transom windows, the black against the white, I think other people have voiced some of the same things. And then on the rear, the excessive amount of windows being greater than 50% of the wall space is problematic.
Okay.
and are there stairs on the west elevation with the 3 sliders?
That's the way it looks.
Are
Yes,
there are
yes.
stairs coming down from there also?
Yes. It's gonna be like a little patio there, so,
In the front yard?
yes.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Let me help you.
I don't think we can.
Okay, let's
It's too disorganized.
let me see if I can sum up for you.
Okay.
When you drive around the streets of the Hamptons, there's certain architectural language that makes our houses blend in. Even if you look at the pictures, the front doors tend to face the street.
Right.
They tend to be findable. And also in the materials that you're using, they don't feel architecturally harmonious with the neighborhood. If you had in that neighborhood drive down, all of a sudden there's a great big white house with a great big black roof, it would be jarring in that neighborhood. It's one of the reasons why John is asking if the house is coming forward, because if it came proud of the other houses, it would be even more
Totally
jarring.
understandable. I
But
agree.
normally when you drive up to houses, you see the front door, you park, you go to the front door and you go in. in this particular case, very specifically, I think you're almost going to have to rethink the entrance to the house and rethink it. But when you're doing that, one of the things that we try not to do is sometimes I call it over fancifying a house. So when I've got board and batten followed by dental moldings, followed by, it's too much detail.
Okay.
And then if you look at the ratio and size of the transom windows that are over the 3 sliding doors that actually face the street, we wouldn't want to see that amount of light pollution from the street.
Mm-hmm.
And I think living in that house, you don't want to walk out your bedroom door to your front yard to watch your neighbors go by from your bedroom. So you may want to rethink that, but that's your choice. As far as white houses with black windows go, right now there's been a bit of a tick in white farmhouses with black windows. It's going to age and date them all very quickly, and they just don't look harmonious with the architectural language of Southampton. So we have not been approving them.
Mm-hmm.
When I go elevation by elevation, again, the board and batten should be a subtle treatment, should be a recessive, not a progressive treatment. So when you paint it black and you pop it at me, it doesn't really work either. We do have some houses, and if you drive around that neighborhood, that actually have some nice examples of board and batten trim on them to familiarize yourself with.
What about the large panels of glass? You don't like that?
No, and especially in traditional large panels of contemporary glass in a contemporary traditional house, they don't look great. And then what you're calling your north elevation, and what I would ask you to do next time is true up to where all your elevations have cardinal points on them, because you're calling one front but then another one south, so we actually understand how to orient this a little easier. But what you're calling your north elevation, are those glass doors
Yeah.
Yes.
that you're looking through? We're not fans of glass front doors,
Okay.
just because for both light pollution also,
Even when they're on the side, sir?
side, front, whatever.
Okay.
We're just not fans of, a door should present a presence. You walk the door, the house presents itself. And this idea that you'd have all this light coming through a front door is both a privacy issue and an architectural issue that we don't feel is right for the village of Southampton.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that all these are casements?
Yes.
Okay. And is that a value reason or a choice?
It's the reason why is because you could see better out of them. You know, the thing is, the line that you have to look through to
Yeah.
see out, I think it's less obstructive. That's what I believe.
Okay.
I know a lot of people have double hungs. Trust me,
Well,
I've seen the
If you
neighborhood.
drive around the neighborhood in the history of Southampton, the majority of the windows you're going to find are going to be double hungs.
Right.
Even if there are 4/1s or even clear 1/1s, double
Mhm.
hungs would be more harmonious with the houses that you're looking at in the neighborhood that you're surrounding.
Okay.
So you should probably take that into consideration. So that's a lot of comment. I think the 3 I find the most striking are color is definitely a start over.
No problem. Okay.
How the house faces the street needs to be completely rethought. Because when you drive around our streets, that's how we find our houses. On some of the larger lots, you do come up and some houses at the side, but there's a gracious entrance to it. You don't have a gracious entrance. You
Mhm.
have to park your car smack in front of the front door of this house.
Right.
Get out of the car and go in. So there's no presentation of the house, which is why in this neighborhood, normally the front of the house would be facing the street.
Right.
And then the idea of putting large gangs of transom windows over the back, and you've got a fairly traditional house and a fairly contemporary window structure on whatever you were calling facing the pool. Your east elevation.
Yes, east.
And then these contemporary long light fixtures that go into it. So it doesn't all shore itself up into a presentation that's actually on par or architecturally harmonious with both your streetscape and the architectural language of
Mhm.
Southampton. Does that
Okay.
help?
Does, yes.
And what about, now that I'm looking at this, where are you have a 5-bedroom house, is that correct?
Yes.
So you need
5-bedroom house require 4.
4 parking spaces.
I did revise the plot plan, and you should have a copy in that with the package. So it shows 2 off-street parking.
2?
You
I
have-
mean,
You have
two-
to
I'm
have
sorry, I
4.
apologize. 2, and then 2 in the driveway next to the house, on the north elevation,
So.
by the front door.
I
In
don't,
either case, only one car has to be moved to.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
This is a 5-bedroom house?
But there's,
Yes.
it has to have 4 cars and there was a turnout.
Yes.
where are we seeing that?
It's a separate piece of.
Yeah,
paper.
it's separate
It was
piece.
later
I
in the file.
apologize for that.
It's later in the
Separate
file.
piece. I handed it in.
It's this.
They requested that, and I did the extra drawing.
Yeah. So that's a lot of comments, but I think
I don't have that.
and that's a lot of work to do. Can you be ready by November the 11th, or would you
Yes.
prefer to?
That doesn't show it. He has a different.
Yeah, it's on this one here.
Yeah.
Susan, this one?
Yeah, I know you're saying, but
See?
I've got a million pieces of paper, but I don't think I have, sorry, I don't have that one. Or it shouldn't be that hard to find.
Oh, hang on. Let me
Where
look.
would, it's
Let me-
separate? I don't have any separate pieces.
Where's my copy?
Separate plot plan.
Yeah, I hear you. Sorry.
I'll get you a copy.
Well,
Just do me a favor and just put it on the desk. I think I have a comment on it. Can I see it? Just put it on the desk facing us.
Anybody else for public comment?
Okay. What I would tell you is that it's too deep because your turnout parking goes all the way across the front yard. And that's too much, and we find that difficult amount of hard space across the front of the house. So
Okay.
the depth of your turnout parking pad is really too deep. It's too much hardscape in that neighborhood. Now, did we have public comment?
here we go.
Are you, about this house?
Here it is.
You want to talk about this house? Please come forward, and I'm going to ask that you take that microphone, and you can talk to us from the podium.
This.
If you would like to take that microphone and just stand at the podium.
Oh, yeah,
That'd be great. Just, yeah.
this one too.
Sure.
What street is it?
And introduce yourself.
How's it going? I am Garrett Pike, the owner
Okay.
of the
So
property.
This is not public comment, this is the applicant speaking.
You're the applicant.
Oh,
You're
well,
the applicant.
I mean, yeah, I
The
don't know.
owner?
Well, he
Okay.
can
Well,
speak.
you can speak.
Yeah,
That's
cool.
fine.
And I might add, you know, I believe, Garrett, you're a real estate broker in the village, which has nothing to bear other than.
Jeff, I'm sorry, but he's the owner of the house and the applicant.
No, I understand, and it's just surprising, anyway, that there's not more knowledge
Okay.
reflected in.
Well,
the-
let's,
Yeah,
let's-
no, I
let's
think
let him speak.
I think kind of knew the black windows was going to be an issue. It was just
Then I'm going to ask if you.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to be really honest with you. If you live here and you
No,
kinda knew
no, I
about them,
know.
why did you
Yeah,
allow
yeah.
them to present them to us? You know, if you knew we weren't going to pass it, why would you do
it was a good first meeting just to see what
No,
else
it's
we
not.
could.
That's
do.
not
Okay,
acceptable.
Jeff. Okay,
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah, but other than that, I just want to make two comments. One about the setback. We are definitely by far the furthest setback house. The neighbors directly to the left and the right of us are much closer to the street. So, you know, we'll bring those aerials
bring
of
an
it
aerial
next
in and
time
see it.
just so you can see
Yeah.
it, but just want to give you that heads up. And then the only other thing is it's a very narrow lot, which is why we have the front door really on the side. And the house, you could see.
It doesn't have, there are plenty of narrow long houses that have front
No, I
doors
know,
that
but
face the street.
the house directly, if you're looking at it directly to the left, they have the same thing, side door. There's other houses too. But like that's, so if you're looking at the house to the left and our house, their front door is on the side. So
Well, you've heard the comments on the board of how we feel about that. but
correct.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, I just wanted to
Well,
make those two
it's
points.
the appearance of the street-facing part of the house, it doesn't appear as the front of the house. That's part of the issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
It looks like it would be the rear of the house, actually.
Right.
Okay.
There-
Anything else?
I think that's it.
Because I think you've heard all the comments.
Yeah. No, all
Okay.
good.
All right. Then I will ask again, are there any comments from the public?
So he's the owner?
Okay. He's the owner. The
No,
applicant.
That's not the public.
All right, so I'm going to move, motion to adjourn, to accept the applicant's request for an adjournment for 62 Dale Street to December the 11th. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, lots of comments. Lots of
Yes,
work.
I appreciate all the comments, I
Of
really
course.
do. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, so that brings us to new matters. The first one is 92
What
Cooper's
happened to
Neck.
Murray Lane?
Is
Is that on there?
No. It's
Oh.
coming. No, it's not on the.
How about
No,
this
it's,
one?
it's, you're three down. Yeah, two more to go.
Excuse me.
The first one was new matters, driveway gates historic, which is 92 Cooper's Neck Lane. Do you have the affidavits and are they in order?
Yes and yes.
Okay. Hello?
Hi.
Okay.
Hello. My name is Chris McNally. I'm the owner's representative for 92 CNL at 92 Cooper's Neck Lane in Southampton Village. And I'm here to present our proposed driveway gates as designed by our landscape designer, Deborah Nevins and Associates. I want to start by saying that on April 10th, Chairman McIntyre, you gave a kind of an extended statement on the history of gates and fences in Southampton Village, and that's been very helpful to me in
Great, thank
in
you.
preparing for this. We essentially took the regulation passed in July of '22 and followed it to the letter. I also brought, if I can hand out, photos of all the neighboring gates on the block between Great Neck and Meadowmere, if I
We don't
could.
need that.
We don't need to say that. We're familiar.
Okay.
We've approved enough gates. We're sort of familiar, but okay. And it wasn't. Go ahead.
Okay. In terms of the conforming with the regulations, I believe that in the district, we're exempt from the 4.5-foot maximum height, but even without that, with our 354-foot frontage,
Sage, good sage.
Oh, yeah. Can you get this up on the camera for us?
There we go, thank you.
Okay. Go ahead. Okay.
so with the 350-foot frontage and the 200,000 square foot lot, we're exempted from the 4.5-foot height. And so accordingly, the gate is designed at, as you'll see on the last page, 7'8" at the sides,
I don't know.
down to 7'0" in the center of the operable portion of the gate with 8-foot posts flanking. The operable portion of the gates has 42% transparency, which is slightly more than the minimum required. The pickets are 1 3/4 square, which comes in beneath the 2-inch maximum depth. And I'll show you the rendering. Ms. Nevins rendered the gate, which we're going to make out of natural mahogany, with a
I was
light.
wondering about the other
You're
side.
gonna want it.
Yeah, we
That's
want to
plastic,
take a
yeah.
Cabot driftwood stain and cut it, thin it by half to start to accelerate the silvering. This rendering is meant to
Oh, okay, good.
show what it's going to look like in a few years, but it's going to be built of natural mahogany, real mahogany.
And the,
It's a
if I'm
heavy
reading
gate.
this right, the setback is over 30 feet?
Yes, the, from the street, hang on,
There are 34 feet is what I'm seeing.
It's a huge thing.
Yeah.
34 feet from the
grand and-
street
Yeah.
edge, 14
Okay,
foot
just wanted
from
to
the lot line.
make sure I was
Yeah.
reading it right.
It's pretty grand.
And are there any lighting fixtures on these gates, or will they be lit?
There's no lighting fixtures on them. I don't have a lighting design yet, but they will not be affixed to the posts.
Okay. And what is the operating mechanism?
There is a keypad on one of the posts,
Oh, good. You
which
did
is
do
shown
your
in the
homework.
elevation.
On the post, good.
Yep.
You
Right here
really
on this
attentive.
Okay.
driver's side post as you drive in.
But there
Okay.
is planned lighting for the gate? It's just not submitted yet, or?
We don't have a lighting plan yet, so it will not be lanterns mounted on the posts, but
Would the lighting plan have to be submitted for, the lighting plan for the entire property, or wasn't that part of our approval already?
exterior lighting,
Yeah.
landscape
Yeah.
lighting.
That is something
Yeah.
that we,
Well, for this application right now, the question
Yeah,
about
it's
this
not-
gate is
The
there are
gate
no
is the
surface
gate
mounted,
is
there are
the
no
gate.
surface mounted light fixtures.
None.
so
Okay.
you're,
And your keypad is on the post.
Yes, right here.
Okay. Board members.
looks good to me. I would
Thank you for
say
doing all your homework, we appreciate
that
that
I
very much.
did not know,
My pleasure.
this doesn't, does this say what this, Deborah Nevins is on here, but actually where this is? And we have thousands of pieces of paper, as you might have guessed by now. So it'd be nice if she put the actual, it's okay, but in future.
Well, it's on,
Oh, well, come on.
it's on that.
No, but it's not on the gate.
The address for her title block.
It just,
her
as,
name.
The
as a general
address
rule,
of the
as a
gate.
general rule, when people are giving us paperwork, we like the
Yes.
address and
It
everything.
would be
Sometimes
you
they
know-
get separated.
You know, I
in the
wanted
building
this
department.
perfect.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's
I-
all right.
I
That's
take
what
the
it's
note.
good.
Thank you for the
Little
note.
Miss
But
Perfect
you do
here.
have, you do have
It's a
90
nice
C&L
gate.
LLC.
Thank
Okay.
you.
But it should
All right.
say what street we're on, for instance, in the address.
But the gate, you're fine.
It's kind of an
Right.
important detail.
Well,
Thanks.
it is an
Yeah.
important detail on the street as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
John?
I think it's lovely, thank you.
Okay. Jeff?
Yes, great, oh,
It's very
sorry, I thought you
pretty.
said
Jeff, any comments?
No comment, it's okay.
Okay, Jane?
I think it's wonderful you did all your homework. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay, any comments from the public? Is that very quiet public tonight?
Yeah.
Motion to move to written decision the application for 9 to CNL LLC 92 Cooper's Neck Lane for driveway gates. Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye. well
Any
done.
opposed? There you go.
Bravo, you're done.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
All right, so that brings us up to
50.
50 Hildreth Street, as-built driveway gate, carryover matter from last week in the non-historic district.
As built, so it's already up.
It's a gate that was built
But
and it had
it's
to be
not there
removed.
anymore.
Um,
So
Is
where,
anybody here for that?
Are you here?
no, you're fine, sir.
Yeah, 50 Hildreth? Okay.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Oh, move right along.
I'm just going to make a comment about a 50 Hildreth. The issue is your survey is way off of where your measurements are, so take that into consideration for materials. All right, that brings us to 134 Murray Lane, driveway gate, 134 Murray Lane. Is the applicant here?
It's Thanksgiving took the,
Mm.
is
Okay.
there someone?
Yep.
No, this one.
He's not.
We should let people know
No,
that it's not
a
necessary to provide.
masonry
I mean,
column?
these could all been approved before the change last year, or they could be unapproved completely, so
Yeah.
it's a waste of their time
Yeah.
to do this. Like this was obviously not approved.
Okay, are you
Oh, I
here?
know.
I'm here,
Okay.
Mark Cirillo for AutoGate Systems, for 134.
Yep.
Murray Lane.
Good evening, Mark.
How are you?
We're well. How are you?
Good. It's a
Great.
full moon.
Beautiful out.
Last night. Anyway, well, we didn't have the opportunity to present this at the last meeting. I took your comments into consideration, went back to the contractor.
Okay.
And we present now is reducing the amount of horizontal slats, increasing the spacing between those slats, so that we achieve a 42% daylight opening between the slats, looking from the street.
Do you have a diagram?
It was the.
No, I'm just asking for the public
Oh,
to
for
see.
the public.
I have one.
Very well, hang on one second. You can
So-
see me?
No.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no,
Oh,
we
there you
can't.
are.
No, we can see your
We
name.
can see your
Ah, there you
name.
are. Ah, now we see you.
You can probably hold it up.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Go.
It's like a pinstripe suit.
So this is what we have, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what he's claiming.
So here's, let me ask you a question. So
Sure.
what you're calling 2 1/2/8 is the picket, and what you're calling 1 5/8 is the white space, or is it the other way around?
Is the daylight opening, correct?
The
Okay.
1 5/8?
Is the
2
daylight?
5/8 space.
And the
Okay.
picket is 2 1/8?
Yeah. I
So
think
how do you-
I
if
think your
you
math
reversed it,
math is off.
It would be
Yeah,
fine.
It's more than, it's like 60%.
So.
In the last application, he had a 1 3/4 picket with 1 7/8 gaps to achieve a 42% transparency. You have a 2 1/8 inch picket with a 1 5/8 gap, and when I run the numbers, I come out at 35.5% transparency. So I think you haven't hit the transparency yet.
We have, actually. You have 20 horizontal slats, not 22, what was on the last
That's
original elevation. Hold on one second. So if you take 20 multiplied times 2 1/8, you come up to 42.5 inches of solid. We take our spacing, 19 spaces at an
1
19
5/8?
spaces at
Well,
an
that's actually going to hurt
18
you because we also take
Yeah.
in consideration the framework. But go ahead.
I understand that, but we have 30 and 7/8 inches of spacing. So our spacing equals 42%. If you took the 30 and 7/8 and add to 42.5 inch of solid wood, we come up with 77 and 75 and 7/8. Divide that up and you have 42% daylight spacing.
I don't think your math is correct.
And it has nothing to do with the number of slats. It has
It
to do with.
has to do with, you're not
It has
taking,
to
you're
do
also
with
not,
spacing.
you're also not taking into consider the non-transparency of the frame.
The non-transparency of the frame.
Right,
which is-
in total visual transparency, you want to see 40%, and I don't see it here. I like the design of the gate, it just needs to be more transparent.
I don't like the gate at all. I think it's out of
If I
character.
take- I can still meet 40%, even with this. Like, as it is right now, our daylight spacing is over 40%. As it is right now. So if you wanna take into consideration the frame of 5 inches and add that to the spacing, we have 73 and 3/8 in total of daylight spacing and solid slats, plus 5 inches. 78 and 3/8 minus our 30 and 7/8 spacing.
If I may make a comment?
Jeff,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh,
Please.
so we're arguing over math. At one level, the simple math is 13/8 over 17/8, which is barely 25%.
That's
Okay, so
it.
you add the stuff around the outside, but all of this is, obfuscates the very premise of what we're trying to achieve, which is we don't want solid walls, we want visibility.
I
And we're
understand.
and we're playing games here. Mark, I wish you and your compatriots in this industry would just recognize that and operate to what's being achieved rather than, getting down to the nits. These are guidelines, and we look for transparency because we
I
want to
understand.
create an open neighborhood. What I look at here, math aside, looks pretty much like a solid gate. If you were to reverse the spacing so that the slats were the open space and the open space were the slats, you'd be
You'd have won.
smooth sailing. But
Let me ask you something.
you're choosing to go this route, and it's
prepared.
not gonna get my vote.
Well, let me ask you something.
Well, let's hear from, why don't you hear from,
Just
before
before the
we,
gate-
stop, please. Why don't we hear from all of the board members first? John?
I have to agree with Jeff. I think this type of gate, which is not typical in Southampton Village, most gates have a vertical slatting, not horizontal. And because of the angle of the view, you're seeing mostly solid as you're driving by or walking by, and you would not have that same impact if it were a vertical slat gate, correct?
The last time when you weren't here, when they presented it before, it was built to where they had these. So from the front,
Oh, at
no
an
light
angle,
came through.
right, that would never work.
So what they've done is made them smaller to increase the light between them, but I still don't think there's enough transparency between the slots.
But I've also-
From
I've
my
also-
perspective, on this type of gate, a 50-50 would be a minimum from my point of view.
But we made,
Susan,
Would you
you
let
haven't-
us finish,
you-
No,
please?
I'm
You're
just
not-
going with Jeff Broadleib's correct math, I believe. I am.
Yep.
Which is, it just doesn't compute. It's that simple.
Jane?
And it does look like a wall.
Wall.
It doesn't look like a gate that has any see-through. Because the slats are so numerous and so many, it does not look like it has the even close to 42%.
Wait a second.
It looks like a wall. It appears to
Well,
look
there's
like a
two,
wall.
okay, so let me sum this up for you.
And I don't
You've
wanna
heard
raise
from
it.
4 different board members that the gate is not transparent enough. It still looks a visual wall. They don't find it harmonious to the village or to this neighborhood, and they're not going to approve it. So what would you like us to do?
No, it's just not that simple.
But it is kind of that
It is
simple.
that simple.
You just approved the gate just before that, which was exactly the same, except the slats were vertical instead of horizontal. Now, in this drawing.
Did
It's a
you,
different
did you
visual
happen to look at,
impact
did you,
of-
wait a minute. Did you look at the transparency on that gate? Because it's much higher. Did you look at it? It is higher, but okay. But go ahead. But we're looking at this gate in this location. You've heard 4 comments, and this is what they're telling you.
We can't talk over each other and expect to get something done, but
No,
yeah,
let's just
listen, I
adjourn
spent
it.
5.5 hours here 2 weeks ago, and I didn't get the courtesy of even presenting. But I took your comments under consideration, and this gate is a redesign. There are fewer horizontal slats than there was 2 weeks ago, and the spacing between the horizontal slats is greater, and the angle where those were louvers is now basically horizontal, so that you can see right through it.
Okay, I hear you, and thank you. Okay, I hear you, and I appreciate that you took our comments. The reason I just turned it on last time is you said it's a solid gate, and we already knew what the answer would be. But we did give you comments while we were turning it down. You took them to heart, and I think you've brought back a gate that's closer. I don't think you're there yet. What you're hearing is what you're presenting does not have enough visual transparency to get the votes of the board.
It also doesn't mathematically.
And when I run the math, I don't see you at 40%, but
I need to
Budley did
address,
it right.
I need to address, Ms. Stevens' comment about that, because again, I have 30 7/8 inches of spacing, daylight open.
I'm just gonna, you've gone through that before.
Okay.
What I'm gonna shut down here and say is, at what we're seeing right now, the board is telling you they would like to see more transparency. They don't think it's transparent enough. So,
Well, hold on, then taking that into consideration, right? I can go back to this client, this is what I'm asking you. I go back to this client and say, okay, you have 20 horizontal slats, and this board is not accepting that that's too solid.
it has nothing to do with the amount of slats.
I can turn that 20 into 18 slats and increase the spacing between those. Would that be approved?
I think that's what you're hearing that we're looking for. Now, certain people prefer vertical versus horizontal. I personally, because I've seen the house, don't think that the horizontal is disharmonious with this house if it weren't so solid. So if you go back and put fewer slats with more space between them, which gives more visual transparency, I think that that's what we're looking for.
Okay, can you give me just a few seconds here?
No, I can't. You're going to have to represent.
But the only thing I would say is, it's the visual impression. It's not whether it's 18 versus 20, or 17 versus 20, or 16 versus 20, it's the visual impression.
But that's following your guidelines. I mean, we can't just
And
make,
and
we
that's
can't make it
just,
up as we go along.
no, and that's just the guidelines, they're not code.
But
All
at
right,
the
so
same
the bottom line is you don't have the vote you need tonight. The board feels it's not transparent enough. You're going to need to redraw it and come back
Has the
with
board
more transparency.
How
addressed
about,
the-
as I
the
requested as I requested at the last meeting, but everybody was spent, it was 10:30 in the evening, and everybody had to go, and I didn't really get a chance to present it. What about presenting this and then subject to? And I can go to 18 slats, go back to the client, redraw this, and present this to your board, but subject to that. Can't we move this forward? It's a drop.
No, we cannot. We were not moving forward, especially at the tenor of this conversation, we're not moving forward until there's a drawing in front of, until there is a drawing in front of us that we can look at and approve. So would you like us to adjourn, or would you like us to vote?
Either way, the result's gonna be the same.
No, one of those you'd have to start over, and one of those you can come back on December the 11th.
All right, so we'll go ahead and adjourn it.
Great.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn at the applicant's request for 134 Murray Lane
Second.
to December the 11th. Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll see you then.
Out.
Okay, before we close, we also have to talk about, Alex has, sir, we closed the record. Alex, we've got, what did you want to discuss? The 24 meeting calendar?
Yes, hopefully you should have, I think we had prepared a draft 2024 meeting calendar.
Yes?
Hold it up there. I know that there's at least one of those meetings that falls on a holiday. But I think it would be helpful, at least to set the January, since we've now noticed the last
do the
meeting
whole
in
thing.
December, so the next applications that we're currently taking in the
Right.
building department are starting
Well,
to get scheduled.
did the building department take these and compare it to the New York State holidays before presenting it to us?
We did for the other ones. We may have missed a date on here. This doesn't look like the one that I had seen.
Well, the ones, from what I see, I believe it's President's Day, Memorial Day, and there are 3 holidays in here.
Columbus
And
Day.
Columbus Day, which are all on here, are all days in which the building department is closed. So therefore, we can't have meetings on those days.
Oh, what about MLK? Is that January 8th? No.
No, it's
That's
that one was
following
cleared.
week, right.
Yeah. We can't do February the 12th, clearly. It's a holiday. We can't do May 27th because that's Memorial Day, and we can't do, what was it?
Columbus.
Columbus Day.
So I propose we just cancel them.
And we will not be doing a meeting on December 23rd.
That's right.
Also, November 11th is Veterans Day.
Pardon?
November 11th.
November the 11th is Veterans Day.
So that's 1 million. But that's just how it is.
Okay, so here's the thing, because that's 4 dates on this proposed calendar that we can't do. I'm going to throw it back to you because what has been a problem before is if we try to move meetings around, we run into meeting collision in this room to reschedule meetings.
Can we approve January or January and February now?
We can approve January, because, well, we can approve January 8th, January 22nd, and February 26th.
I don't have that.
February 12th is
I
a state holiday.
You don't have this?
The building office is closed.
It was in an email, right?
No, this was in the packet.
February 12th is that?
It's isn't Lincoln's birthday. It's a New York.
President's
It's a
Day.
President's Day. It's a New York State holiday on the New York State calendar.
I don't know why I don't have that on my calendar.
President's Day is the 19th,
Yeah, I have it
February
as the
19th.
Oh, okay.
How
That's what
about
I have.
Martin Luther King?
Yeah.
He's
so
the
it's
15th this
that week,
year.
that week.
MLK is on the 15th.
Where,
Yeah.
where is,
Okay.
when you got this list, what was it in an email? How did you get this?
It was in my packet.
It was in the packet. It was sent around. So let's
Really? I
let's
didn't get one.
Let's look back again on the 12th and the 26th of February.
What look back in?
Look at the building calendar.
Oh, I don't have it. She has it. Do you have it?
For 24?
Okay. So February 12th and February 26th. Is that what you're asking?
Is the building department open on those days?
As far as I know, the only thing I see on my calendar is President's Day is February 19th. And I can check to see whether that's a village holiday, but it shouldn't affect this board.
Okay. Then why don't we approve January and February, and let's look back at the other holidays, and let's avoid the ones where the building is closed.
Sounds good to me.
Sure.
And then what I'd like to do in the next meeting is let's figure out all the rest of them, and then I would like to at least be able to publish the calendar for the entire year.
Yes.
Yeah, because I can already tell you we can take December 20, we'll just have one meeting in December because we're going to take December 23rd. We're off. No one will be here.
And how about the Thanksgiving one of it?
Thanksgiving is, what's Thanksgiving in November? Thanksgiving, I think we're up to
Third
28th.
Thursday.
Thursday, November 28th.
That's the 28th.
And what's our meeting?
That's the 25th, the Monday prior. That's all right.
Maybe.
All right, so let's approve January and February then, and then let's take a look at it, then let's come back.
And at some, I wasn't given whatever you all got, so I'm in the dark. Really? Thanks.
It's gonna change anyway.
I know,
mean,
you're right.
so-
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I should say second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.